Another day, another stream. In today's stream, we're doing something that we love to do all the time. About once a week is how I've been trying to do these streams. These streams being the tier list streams. Now, with these streams, we've been going through each generation of Pokemon and ranking every generation. Now, we were going in order. We did Kanto a little while ago. Then we did Johto a couple weeks ago. Then we did Hoenn a few weeks ago. Then we did Sinnoh, what would be a couple weeks ago, couples 2. Then last week, we did Kalos because we had the announcement of the new games. We're getting Kalos games. So that's why last week we skipped Unova and did Kalos instead, because we were doing it for the hype around Kalos. We were expecting Unova games. It would have fell perfectly if the Unova games did come out, and if the Unova games came out and then those dropped, then we did a tier list that week for Unova, that would have been perfect. Although they didn't release. They released Kalos games instead, which I am much more excited for. I keep saying games plural. They released the Legends Z, the Legends Kalos game. So I'm hyped about that. And because of that, we did the Kalos tier list last week. Meaning this week, we have the Unova tier list to do. Yo, Redstone, thank you for tuning in. Alfred, thank you for tuning in. Mary, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all you tuning in. Thank you so much. What we're doing here today is the Unova tier list. We are going back a generation because, like I said, we skipped this generation. The next week we'll be back on track with doing, we'll be doing Alola next week. I think I might start doing these every Wednesday. I think the Wednesday streams are gonna start being the tier list streams, because I like doing these once a week, and I like schedules and stuff, so I probably will start doing these every Wednesday. Will be these tier list streams we've got going, and next Wednesday will be the Alola one. But for today, this Wednesday, like I said, we're doing Unova. Now, Unova for me holds a special place in my heart. Pokemon Black and White were the first Pokemon games I ever played, beginning to end. The first Pokemon game I ever had and played was Pokemon Pearl. Although I got a used copy of Pokemon Pearl that was completely beat and had every legendary and every starter the game could have on it. I'm like, I don't want to start this game over. So what I did was just leave that game as is and just play the Elite Four again and again and again and again, and run around and just explore the game and all that stuff. Then when Black and White came around, the next generation of Pokemon, I got a new copy of Pokemon Black and White. I had Pokemon White, to be exact, right? Yep. Sorry, I have it on a shelf right over there, and I can never remember the difference between Black and White, because I'm like, Zekrom is the black dragon, Reshiram's the white dragon. Zekrom's artwork on the game is all white. Reshiram's artwork is all black. So which is which? Zekrom's white, Reshiram's Pokemon black. Pokemon White was the first ever Pokemon game I got and played beginning to end. It was the first ever game where I picked my own starter, went through on this whole journey playing the games. So I have always really liked Pokemon Black and White. I've always really liked Unova. The Black and White games to this day are my favorite Pokemon games of all time. Is that nostalgia? I don't know. I look at those games and I'm like, these games are just so much fun. The story is just so cool. Now, like, you have all the Pokemon and all that stuff in it, which we're going to get into in this game. But, like, Pokemon aside, like, I was mentioning this last week when we were doing Kalos. I'm like, I think with the Black and White games, if you can like plug and play any generation of Pokemon, I feel like that will still be my favorite game because of the gyms, because of the story, because of like N and all that stuff, because of your rivals. Then the transition of the continuation of the story into Black 2, White 2, like there's just so much to like with those games that is like isn't involving like the Pokemon and all that stuff. A lot of generations people say it was carried by this, carried by that. Like the Black and White games, it's like it's not really carried by anything because it's just the game itself is just so good. It's like it doesn't need like to be carried by the starters or the pseudos or the normal legendaries or even just the decks as a whole. Like Pokemon Black and White are the best Pokemon games of all time in my opinion. I love them so much. Again, they're the first games I've played. I honestly think I have more playthroughs of Pokemon White than I do of every other Pokemon game combined. I honestly think that, dude, I played those games so much. I played those so much. What I would go through and do in Pokemon White, because I mentioned I had that one copy of Pearl that had every starter you could imagine on it, or at least up until Gen 4. So everything from Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, and then obviously Gen 4 as well. And what I did was transfer over a lot of the Pokemon to my save file of Pokemon Black, or Pokemon White. Look, I tried to get it right there and I got it wrong. Pokemon White. I transferred over all of my good Pokemon from that to Pokemon White, because I'm like, this is the newest gen. I'm going to transfer all my good stuff over to here. And somehow I managed to acquire another copy of Pokemon White. I don't remember how, but I have 2. And so what I would do was, I had my OG game, my original save file. That game had all of my good stuff on it. All this stuff from that Pearl game that I had, which was the reason why I didn't reset that game. All that stuff was on this Pokemon White save file now. All of my Pokemon I used in the playthrough and all that stuff, they're all on that White save file. Then I had another one. And so what I would do on that second save file was, I would get an egg in the OG save file. I would get like a Charmander egg. I would get a Squirtle egg. I did it with a Trico egg. I did it with a Dratini egg. I would do it with all these different Pokemon. Hatch that egg. Have that Pokemon at level 1. Start playing the other game. Once I'm able to trade over that level 1 Pokemon to that game and play the game with that Pokemon as my starter. So I played through Pokemon White with a Charmander as my starter, with a Squirtle as my starter, with a Dratini as my starter, with a Trico as my starter. There was a couple of others as well. Those were the main ones I remember. Then I played through it a couple of other times as well, just simply with this. I think I did it with a, so I'm pretty sure, so the ones I remember, I know for a fact I did. I played through with a Superior as my starter, my first ever game. Then I did it with a Emboar. I just decided to play the second save file. I played for the first time just with an Emboar as my starter. I did it with a Charmander. I did it with a Squirtle. I did it with a Dratini. And I did it with a, what was the last one? I just mentioned another one here. A Trico as well. All those Pokemon. Those are the ones I did at 6 different playthroughs at least that I did. Those are just the ones I remember as well. And then with Pokemon Black 2, White 2, I will note, I only played that once. I haven't had multiple playthroughs of Black 2, White 2. I did that when I picked Emboar as my starter, I remember for that one. Black 2, White 2 is so much fun, though. I love the continuation of the story. I thought that was a really cool thing that they did, where you see, like, your rival being a gym leader and all that stuff. Now you see, like, your other rival grown up and all that. Then you see, like, Getsis and, like, the remnants of Team Plasma and all that stuff. And with what they did with Kyurem and all that. I will note, like, the climax and everything with Black and White, I do like way better than Black 2, White 2. But like all the other things that they changed and or like elaborated on from the previous generation as well. That the fact that Iris was the champion, where Iris is in the coolest champion room you're in all of Pokemon. Like those games are just so good. The Black and White and Black 2, White 2 are like peak Pokemon, I'd say. I really would say that. Like for game wise, though, that's peak Pokemon for me, in my opinion. Will some people disagree? Probably. People always like to argue, disagree, and it is what it is. So that's why we humans like to talk. We like to argue and disagree with people. So some people might disagree, but for me, those are peak Pokemon. Black and White and Black 2, White 2. And what we're doing here today is getting into this tier list where we will be ranking every Gen 5 Pokemon. We've got them all here on this list. I think Gen 5's the biggest of all the gens, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got a big tier list to do here today. I do think it's the biggest because Kanto's 151. I think this one's like 156. I think you know what? We got them right here. Let's do the math. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 across, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 across. Then down we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Count that again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 down. So that's 13 times 11. 143. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Plus 12. 155 new Pokemon. This generation has 155 new Pokemon in this generation. And we're going to be ranking them all here today. Now, before we get into it, I do want to go through the rankings we have here. Because we do have, like, the legit, like, full ranking system we normally do. Up at the top, we have God Tier. God Tier is reserved for what I look at as the single best or two best Pokemon from this generation. For instance, the last tier list we did Kalos. Greninja sat up there alone in God Tier. The generation before, Sinnoh. I don't remember what was in Sinnoh, but I do know let's go to, let's say, Johto. Johto had Lugia up there, my favorite legendary Pokemon. Then when we go to Hoenn, Hoenn had Rayquaza. No question about Rayquaza. And then Metagross, my favorite pseudo-legendary Pokemon up there. So God Tier is reserved for, like, the best of the best. I post the clips and stuff, like, of this on social media and all that. And people keep commenting saying, oh, all of these guys should be in God Tier. Like, God Tier is meant to be for, like, the single best Pokemon. Or, like, maybe 2, maybe 3 Pokemon there are in the gen. It's not meant for more than, like, 4 Pokemon. The most we've ever had was, I think, 4 in the legendaries. Or was it 5 in the legendaries? We had Lugia, Mewtwo, Rayquaza, Giratina, Origin forms. No, it was the 4 we had in the legendary tier list. But God Tier is reserved for the, like, just only a couple that are just different from the rest. Then S Tier's like the best Pokemon. Like, God Tier, again, is the step above the best, like the very best. S Tier, though, is like the best, just absolutely outstanding Pokemon. A Tier is good Pokemon, no doubt about that. Everyone in A Tier is like a good, solid Pokemon. B Tier is above average. C Tier is average. D Tier is below average. F Tier is bad. Then we have disgusting. Normally, we haven't had anything for disgusting for a little while now, but with Gen 5 here, there are a couple of Pokemon that are going to be down there in disgusting. There are a couple of Pokemon that are going to be down there at the bottom in the disgusting tier. And without further ado, let's get on into this tier list we've got right here. Starting off, we have Victini, which I've always thought was interesting that Victini was the kind of leader of the Pokedex here in Unova. Normally, it's always just the first evolution of the grass starter, Snivy, like Gen 1, Bulbasaur, Gen 2, Chikorita, Gen 3, Trico, Gen 4, Turtwig, Gen 5, Snivy, nope, Victini. I've always thought that was interesting. I wonder if there's some lore or reasoning behind it. If there is, I don't know it, but Victini is the first one we've got right here. And I mean, I'll put Victini in A. I don't love it, but it is cool. I saw someone that said, like, there's like a way in which people cut apples. Like, I don't know if it's traditional in Japan or something like that. And it's literally like designed like they cut the apple slices, then they cut the 2 like triangles in it. And they like, almost like, I don't know if they folded them up or not, but it's like, it looks exactly like Victini with the ears and all that stuff. Like, I just thought that was cool. And so ever since then, because that, I've always kind of liked Victini a little more. I think it's a fire. What type is Victini? Is it fire psychic? Victini type. It is Psychic Fire. Okay, it is Psychic Fire. Yeah, Victini's a solid Pokemon. I mean, it's not like something that's blowing me away, but at the same time, it's like, it's not bad by any means. So I'm putting it up in A tier. It deserves its spot up in there in A tier. Then with the starters here, this might get a little, yo, Alfred, thank you for watching today. I appreciate it. Hope you have a good one. Now getting into, some of the starters. Now, the starters here might be controversial for some people because for me with these starters, like, there's some really good and also there's some stuff I think is really bad. For instance, Snivy. Would I put Snivy itself in S tier? Nah, I'm going to put Snivy in A tier. Servine and Superior, though, I'm definitely putting S tier. This whole line right here, so for context, once again, this was the first ever starter I picked in a Pokemon game, Snivy. And when I got the Pokemon, I accidentally gave it a nickname. I didn't want to give it a nickname. So I literally remember sitting at my kitchen table trying to figure this out. I'm like, I gave it a nickname. I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to do this. So what do? It wouldn't let me back out or anything like that. I was stuck giving it a nickname. I think I even turned the device off, the DS, and then turned it back on, and it still didn't work. So I was stuck nicknaming my Snivy. And the nickname I came up with was, well, I don't want to give it a nickname, so I'm just going to name it Snivy. I'll just do that. Let's just name it Snivy. That'll be perfect. Then it'll have its name it's meant to have. Then it evolves to Servine. Congratulations, your Snivy evolved into Servine. Then I go look at the moves, or the name of the Pokemon. Like, oh, wait, it's still Snivy. It might have even said, like, congratulations, your Snivy evolved into Servine. Oh, Snivy wants to learn the move blank, Leaf Storm or something like that, or Leaf Blade or some other move like that. Because normally when Pokemon evolve, they learn moves like that, so it might have even been something like that, but nonetheless, when it evolved to Servine, I realized I had made a grave mistake. In that I named it Snivy. And now the name is going to stay Snivy because I named it Snivy, but it's going to evolve, and because I nicknamed it Snivy, the name's not going to change when it evolves. So I was just stuck with a Snivy the rest of my game. So I had Snivy the Snivy, Servine the Snivy, then eventually Superior the Snivy. I should have named Superior, or I should have named Snivy just Superior at the start, so I would have just had a Snivy and Servine named Superior for a little bit, but I named it Snivy, so my first ever starter is a Superior named Snivy. But, dude, this Pokemon as a whole is so cool. Snivy, I'll note on its own, like, isn't the coolest. I don't think it's just, like, a basic grass starter. There's, like, nothing special about just Snivy. But, like, Servine and Superior are so cool. I look at Servine, and I look at other middle evolutions of the starters. Like, middle evolutions for the starters are normally, like, the weird, awkward phase where it's, like, they just look bad. I will note, that's something this generation does really good. The middle stages are all really good for this generation. Like, you look at what, Sobble, Drizzle, Thwacky, what are the new ones? I don't even know the names of the middle one on Quaxley, but like there's so many middle evolution starters that are just abysmally bad. Like there really aren't any first evolution starters that are bad. There really aren't any final evolution starters that are bad. There's one in here which we're going to get to in a sec. But for the most part, like they're good or above average. Like the middle evolution for the starters, though, there's, like, a decent amount of them that it's like, what went wrong? Like, honestly, like, what went wrong there? That's a lot, how the views I have for a lot of them. We got to do that tier list eventually, because I think that one's going to be so radically different, because, like, the first evolution, the final evolution, like, they're kind of, like, my thoughts on them are pretty much similar. Like, if I like the first evolution, I probably really like the final evolution as well. But for the middle ones, it's so off the wall and random, like, I think that would be interesting to us. I should do that eventually. But with Servine here, I look at Servine, I'm like, that's a solid design. That's a really good, cool design. And then it evolves into Superior. Superior is so cool. The grass snake, it's got a cool shiny, has contrary to use Leaf Tornado, or is it Leaf Storm? I think it's Leaf Storm in Showdown. And instead of minus your special attack gets boosted instead. It's absolutely insane. There's the rumor right now this is going to be one of the starters in the Legend ZA game. So if that ends up being the case, I would pick that 1,000% and be ecstatic with that. But Snivy, my Superior, is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. And Superior is definitely up there at the top of S tier right now. Then moving on to the next ones, we have Tepig, Pignite, and Emboar. Now with these, like, I mean, Tepig's fine for like a basic fire starter. Pignite is fine as well, and Emboar's fine. Like they're nothing like special or blowing me away. I will put Emboar at the top there. We'll go, yeah, that's the order. I want to put Snivy above Victini. Let's do that. That'll be the order of them. Like this line is like, I don't know. You look at it. There's a couple of reasons why I honestly don't like this line too much. I will note they have a phenomenal shiny. The shinies for this are absolutely phenomenal. But you look at Pignite, and this might be because of the anime, but Ash had that Pignite and it never evolved into Emboar. And I don't know, I've always liked this line less because of that. It was like, I like the story of how he rescued the Tepig and all that stuff. That was pretty cool. But then the Pignite, it just evolved to Pignite and just stayed Pignite forever. Like it sucked. It's like, no one wants to see this. And then Emboar, I mean, I saw a artwork of a variety of different starters. Like if instead of standing on 2 legs, they were down on 4 legs. Some of the notable names on there were Chestnut. I saw Inteleon on there, and Emboar was the most important one. Oh, I think Feraligatr was on there too, but Emboar. I'm like, if Emboar was down on all 4s, like I think it would be so much better because, like, you think it's based on, like, a pig, boar, like a wild boar. What's a wild boar? Do you see them running around on their back 2 legs? No, they're down on all 4 legs. Like, imagine if Emboar was like that. I personally think that would have made this such a better Pokemon, and people would have liked it so much more, but unfortunately it isn't, so it's where it is. Then moving on, we have the Samurott line. Now, my thoughts have been clear about this for a while. I don't like Oshawott. I'm putting it in B tier. That's the lowest I think we've put a starter for these generation tier lists yet. Samurott is going in B tier as well. I don't like either of these. I would put them lower, but I know people are going to get mad. And again, we did put them lower in the starter tier list, but that was with all of the starters. This is on this generation alone. Like, where do I rank them amongst the other Pokemon compared to these other Pokemon Unova? Before was where do I rank them compared to the other starter Pokemon? So that's why they were lower there. I'll put them in B tier here. I can't put them on the same tier as the Emboar line. I do not like them as much as the Emboar line. Although this one right here, Duat. Duat is without a doubt going up in S tier. Actually above Servine. Duat, I think, might be the best middle evolution we've ever had for a starter. I genuinely think that. I look at Oshawott. I really don't like Oshawott that much, probably because of how it was in the anime. But then it evolves into Duat. Duat's got the dual razor shells on it, each hip. It, like, dual wields them and stuff. The shades of blue it is based on an otter. Like, Duat is absolutely perfect. Like, this might be I'm really interested to do the middle evolution starter tier list because I have I've brought Duat up multiple times because I always bring up how much I hate Samurott and Oshawott, and I'm like, Duat though is so good, and I wonder what I would, if there was anything I would put above it. I'm interested once we end up doing that tier list how that'll all work out, but Duat right here is, I think, the best one without a doubt, when it comes to middle evolutions for the starters. Definitely the best one we've seen so far for the tier list we've done for each generation. And on the other hand, you have Samurott and Oshawott. Again, Oshawott I don't really like. I don't know. I've just never really liked Oshawott. And then Samurott sucks. Samurott's absolutely atrocious, dude. It is such a... I might put Samurott lower. No, you know what? I gotta put Samurott lower. Samurott's just... It's the absolute disappointment. Like, Emboar and Samurott, flip them. Emboar's standing on 2 legs, Samurott's down on all 4s. Samurott stand up and have Emboar go down. Like, I don't get what, this had to have been a mistake or like a miscommunication or something like that, right? The reason why this is the case. Yo, Joao, thank you for tuning in, I appreciate it. This had to have been a miscommunication with the Pokemon Company. Like, they like, oh, you wanted the water starter to stand up on 2 legs, and you wanted the fire starter to be down on all 4s? That had to have been what happened there when they were making these Pokemon. Because Emboar, the pig, it makes sense. Like, pigs are down on all 4 legs. Like, they're not running around on their back 2 legs. Emboar would make sense to be down on all 4s. Then you have Oshawott, Duat, Samurott, based on otters. Otters run around. I mean, to be fair, do otters run on 4 legs? They might. But you have the other 2, Oshawott and Duat, both standing up strong on 2 legs, and then it just falls down when it evolves to Samurott, and it falls down to my tier list when it gets to Samurott as well, because Oshawott and Duat, they're using their hands to attack, and they're standing up on their legs, and their hands are able to attack. Samurott, I think Samurott has moves where it uses its arm, or its front leg, but it's like, that's stupid. If you were using a move with your front leg, you should be standing up on your back 2 legs. You've got this stupid horn sticking out of your head like you're some weird unicorn. Use that! It's like, I don't like Samurott. It's just... Then it got the Hisui form, and it's like, you look at Decidueye. Decidueye had a full redo for Hisui and Decidueye. Then you have Typhlosion. Typhlosion took everything that was good about it and just changed it up and made it better. Like, Samurott, it literally looked as if they just changed the colors on it. Like, it's such a disappointment. That thing, it probably is going to go lower as we move on with this tier list. But moving on now, we just kind of have all these. Here, the thing with Unova for me, like, I was thinking going into this, like, I feel like I might be a little harsh on some of these, because a lot of these Pokemon I'm kind of just almost sick of. Yo, Agent 4, thank you for tuning in. If I'm being completely honest, I'm kind of just sick of some of them. Like, what is it? Patrun and Watchog? Like, dude, I've seen these guys so much. Like, I'm just going to put those in C tier. Like, these are just, like, all these guys. I'm going to put Stoutland in B. I've never liked this line. Like, all those Pokemon right there, those are just, like, basic, average, like, start of the game Pokemon. Like, and here's the thing, dude. when I've been posting these tier lists, people are getting mad where I put some of these like early Route 1 Pokemon. It's like they're literally meant to be the basic Pokemon. We have them in C tier, the average tier. Like that's where Pokemon intended them to be. So I'm putting them there. Again, Samurot's at the bottom of C tier. I don't like Samurott too much. But then these next guys. People ask me all the time, what's my favorite Pokemon? And I say how I love Mega Charizard so much. But then people have also asked, what's my least favorite Pokemon? I don't have one specific least favorite Pokemon that stands above all else. I have a group of least favorite Pokemon that I absolutely despise. Yo, Alex, thank you for tuning in. I have a group of least favorite Pokemon that I absolutely despise. You might be thinking, oh, it's all of these, the grass, the fire, and the water monkeys right here. Now, the normal ones I actually like. Pansage, Pansear, Panpour. I think they're cool. I like that trio right there. Easy B tier for me. These other ones. Simisage, Simisear, Simipour. You know what? This is the only one. Simisage is the only one I like. I'll put it there. The other two are disgusting tier. I don't even want to start yelling and getting mad about these things because it's not worth the energy. These two things right here absolutely suck and are so weird. Look at one of the other iconic monkey Pokemon we've gotten before. Chimchar, Monferno, Infernape. Now, I know we have Apom and Ampipom. I hate those as well. I don't know what it is with Pokemon. They take, you would think, gorillas and monkeys and, chimpanzees, orangutans. Those should produce some of the coolest Pokemon we have. Infernape is awesome. Oranguru, awesome. But then you have, Apom and Ampipom. Disgusting. Absolutely suck. You have these things. The first evolutions are fine. Simisage is okay. But then the other two, dude, Simipour, I hate. I do not like that thing whatsoever. And that was the one I had because I did have, what's his name? Snivy. So Panpour was the one I was given in the game. And maybe I dislike it because of that, because of how much I didn't like the Pokemon in the game. But Simipour, I absolutely hate. And Simisear, we've talked about this before. I got to make a Pokemon Theories video about this. Simisear is a person in a costume. You ever see those people dressed up in the costumes, like if they're in the Chuck E. Cheese costume, or the mascots at sports games and all that stuff, and they've got the big head that they wear and take it off, or mascots at college games and all that stuff? That's what Simisear is. Simisear is a person dressed up as a Pokemon. You can't change my mind about that. It is, I hate those things. They're so weird. And then the cards of them, too. There's a Simisear V-Star card from Crown Zenith that is just kind of the weirdest and creepiest looking V-Star card you will ever see in your life. It's just the normal... It might be right over here. It's not. I moved it. Thank God I moved it. But it's it's just the normal Fire V-Star card, and it's got Simisear on there. And you would think it's oh, it's just a normal Fire type card. But with how Simisear looks on it, Simisear is just a creepy, weird Pokemon. I'm leaving him down there in disgusting tier. I don't like that thing whatsoever. I think it's awful. Moving on, though, now we have Munna and Musharna. Now, these two right here, I don't know, really. I think, there's a lot of, a lot of these Pokemon you hear, these middle-of-the-ground Pokemon, I'll just throw an average for C tier because, these aren't Pokemon I look at and oh, those are good Pokemon. But at the same time, they're not, I'm not looking at them and saying, they're bad. This next line right here, the pigeons, I think this is cool. I've always liked this line. Pidove, is it Pidove, Tranquil, and then, Pidove, Tranquil, and, oh, they actually, you know what? They don't have both Unpheasants on here. It goes Pidove, Tranquil, Unpheasant. Now, Unpheasant I've always liked. A lot of people hate on Unpheasant. I've always thought it was cool. There are the male-female ones, but the male one I've always thought was really cool, which the male one is the one we have right here. There was the battle in the XY anime in the Kalos League with Alon, with his Unpheasant, going toe-to-toe with Ash and his Talonflame. One of the coolest, aerial battles we ever got in the anime, so... Unpheasant is a Pokemon I've always liked. Obviously, again, this was the first game I played. That was the Route 1 bird I had and used. I flew around all over Unova with that, so in my original game. I would eventually get to the point where I was flying all over Unova with Hippopotas. But Unpheasant was the first one I had, so Unpheasant's solid A tier for me. And then you know, like Pidove and Tranquil, like they're just, yeah, I'll put Pidove above these guys. Nashawat, I want to put you below those guys. We'll do that. Pidove's cool, based on a pigeon. You look at Gen 5 Unova, based on the United States. You look at like what's the city. What's the name of the city? I don't know the name of the city, but there's the big city in the game where the bug gym is, and it's like that. It's based on like New York City, you could say. And then you have Unpheasant there with Pidove, the pigeons. The pigeons are like known for being in New York and the cities and all that stuff. So I think that's cool. Again, tying into like it wouldn't be cultural stuff, would it? The pigeons, I wouldn't say that's cultural. That's more so like specifically just honestly regional. Now I know with regional, we have regional variants in the game, but that's more so like regional inspiration for the generation, which stuff like that I do think is really cool. Then we have Zebstrika, the electric zebra. I'll throw that up in A tier. This thing's cool. Blitzel I'll put in B tier. Zebstrika I've always thought was cool. It's a zebra that's electric, like, can't knock that whatsoever, that's cool. Roggenrola, Boldor, and Gigalith. Roggenrola, I'll put in B tier. Boldor, I'll put in B tier. Solid Pokemon right there. But then Gigalith. Dude, Gigalith is a cool Pokemon. This is going up in A tier for sure. Gigalith has one of the coolest shinies there is. And when it attacks, it like, if you have, you know, I have one in Pokemon Go. I'll show you guys. So shiny Gigalith is like blue. Red, like, so see how there's like the red rocks on Gigalith right there? The shiny Gigalith, the rocks are like a turquoise blue. And you guys know I always talk about how much I love, like, there's that specific shade of blue that I really like on Pokemon. Gigalith, let's see. Here we go. I have one shiny one. Look at this. Look at Gigalith right here. Look how cool shiny Gigalith is. And watch when you attack. See how it glows and lights up like that? And the normal ones do that as well. You can't tell as much on the normal one, but you can really tell on the shiny one. It's so cool, dude. Gigalith is, I've always thought, such a cool Pokemon. And easy A tier for me. I'm going to put it, I'll put it just below Unpheasant. I'll put it just below Unpheasant. I've always liked Gigalith. Gigalith, like I said, I've always thought was cool. Its shiny is awesome. It's one of those Pokemon you kind of catch at the start of the game. Ash had a Boldor. Again, he unfortunately didn't evolve it. That's kind of the story of a lot of these Pokemon we're going to get into. Ash had on his team because he had so many Pokemon from Unova, but then he didn't evolve it because his team was so dang big. Then we have Swoobat and Woobat. These two are fine. I mean, I'll put them average. Like, I never necessarily loved these Pokemon, but they're fine. I'll put them up over. I'll put right there, and then, I'll put Herdier below Watchog. Or Patrunt, whatever they're called. Right there. They're fine. They are what they are. Like, nothing blew me away with them. Like, we've had bat Pokemon before. I like the Zubat, Golbat, Crobat line for bat Pokemon way better, so these didn't really, like, blow me away or anything that I thought was special, so I'll throw them down there in C tier. Then we have Drillbur and Excadrill. Now, these two right here they're pretty cool. I've always liked these two. And we saw them in the anime with Iris having an Excadrill. That was just the biggest waste of space we had ever seen. That thing literally, it was too high a level and wouldn't listen. Maybe that was the point of it. Was Iris's Excadrill meant to be, like, portrayed as a Pokemon that was too high of a level and wouldn't listen to her? If that is what it was, that makes a lot more sense now. But I've always liked Excadrill. Excadrill I've always thought was a cool Pokemon. I'll put it up in A tier. Then Drillbur, like, just a pre-evolution of it. We'll put it in B tier. I don't want to put, like, a lot of you might notice a trend we've got going here, like Unpheasant's up there, and then the pre-evolution's down below. Gigalith's up there, pre-evolution is down below. Zebstrika and Excadrill are up there, their pre-evolutions are down below. Like, the pre-evolutions I'm not putting on the same level as the final evolution, because the final evolutions are just so much better. There is one exception, though, we're about to have to what I was just... So that was kind of a bad time to explain that, because we're about to have an exception to that. But first, we have Audino here. Audino's cool because in Pokemon Go, when you catch it, you get a bunch of Stardust. And then I believe when you beat them in the games, you get a bunch of extra XP, right? It's like Chansey, essentially, in that sense. This was the Pokemon that the Nurse Joys and stuff had, so. I mean, like, I don't know. I'll put it in C tier. Like, because here's the thing. I'm thinking Audino. Like, it's kind of like the newer Chansey, you could say. And I just like Chansey way better than Audino. Now, yeah, Chansey's literally just an egg. With an egg. But, I don't know. I just like Chansey way better. Audino, it's got a decent shiny. It's purple and stuff. But, like, nah, that might be a little harsh for Audino. We'll put Audino up here. We'll put Audino in B tier. I'll bump it up there. This next line right here, I am so excited for. Timber, Girder, and Conkeldurr. Each name of the Pokemon is based on what it's holding. Timber is holding a piece of timber. Girder is holding a girder. Conkeldurr is holding 2 Conkeldurrs. This line right here is one of my favorite in all of this game. When I first played this game for the first time, and I'm going through and I make my way to Pinwheel Forest, that forest at the start of the game where Virizion spawns. What's the first Pokemon I caught in that forest? In my first ever playthrough? A Timber. I'm like, this thing's sick. It's holding a piece of wood and its name's Timber. I'm going to catch this thing for sure. I caught Timber, would evolve it to Girder, and then eventually evolve it to Conkeldurr. These would be the powerhouse of my team. I remember at the Elite Four, all my Pokemon were like level 50, maybe 60 something. These things were in the 70s. Dude, Conkeldurr was, like, a lot of people have their over-leveled starter. I had over-leveled Conkeldurr on my team. This thing was the ace of my team, the unanimous strongest Pokemon on my team in my first ever playthrough. It might be the easiest S tier we've had of the day. I'm going to put it, you know what, I don't know if I want to put Conkeldurr above Duat, though. The other two are up in S tier for sure. This whole line's up in S tier. If I'm being honest, see, this just goes to show how much I like Duat. Like this, I can't express this enough. I hate Oshawott and Samurott, but Duat is so good. Conkeldurr is literally the ace Pokemon of my first ever playthrough. I'm going to put it below Duat, though. I do think Duat is still a better design and all that stuff, but the other two I'm having up there for sure. I will note, I like Timber better than Girder. One thing that was sick, dude, in the Pokemon Journeys anime, Ash's... was it still a Galarian Farfetch'd, or had it evolved to a Surfetch'd at the time? I don't remember. But it was battling a Girder, and it broke Girder's Girder with its leak. Just on a different level right there. Ash's Leak Lord, dude. That thing was so cool. But that's a different story. What we're looking at now is this line. And Conkeldurr, like I said, the ace of my first ever playthrough. I've always liked this Pokemon. It's always held a special place in my heart because of that. So easy S tier for those for me. Moving on now, we have the Seismitoad line. We have Timepole, Palpitoad, Seismitoad. Now, Seismitoad, I actually managed to get 100 IV of out of like some research challenge thing. No, I think it was from playing Go. No, it was. I was playing Go Battle League, and there's if you win a certain amount of battles in a row in Go Battle League, you get an encounter with a Pokemon, and I got a Seismitoad, and it ended up being 100 IV. So I've always liked Seismitoad a little bit more because of that. Seismitoad's an awesome, awesome Pokemon. And the other two, though, are kind of goofy looking. Like, Palpitoad, that thing's kind of weird, if I'm being honest. I'm going to put it in C tier. The only reason it's not in D tier is because I used one in a game, and Palpitoad, for me, swept through clay in my first ever playthrough, so that's why it's there. Then Seismitoad, I've always liked Seismitoad. I'm going to put it at the top of A tier. I mean, it's just a massive, like, toad thing. Like, it's so cool. It's water ground, right? Seismitoad isn't just... Yeah, he's water ground. Seismitoad I've always really liked. I've always thought it was cool. It looks perfect to be like some marshy swamp Pokemon. Like, couldn't you imagine this thing? Like, imagine if we had like the Legends, imagine if we had a Legends QRM game, and there were alpha Pokemon in that as well, and you were down in, like, some swamp area based on, like, maybe, like, New Orleans or something like that, like, down south in, like, the swamp, and you just see the alpha Seismitoad just, like, lurking there in the swamp. Like, that's exactly what Seismitoad looks like. It fits that role perfectly. It looks absolutely awesome because of that, so Seismitoad is an easy A tier for me. I don't think I'd put it S tier. Nah, I don't think I'm going to put Seismitoad S tier. I think Seismitoad's going to be A tier for me. Yeah, Seismitoad's A tier. Then these next two right here. Now, these two, Throw and Sock, like, I like them. I don't know why I've always wanted more from them, though. I always wish these guys had, maybe if they get a regional one day or something like that, because I don't think they'd get an evolution. I could maybe, Vineet, thank you for tuning in. I could maybe see them getting a pre-evolution. Like, I could see that. But, like, maybe an evolution, like, what would they evolve into? They're meant to be, like, humanoid-type Pokemon that are, like, based on martial arts and stuff. Like, Throw's most definitely based on what? Sumo wrestling? And then Sock is, like, what? Karate or something like that? Like, I apologize. I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to the combat sports and all that stuff. But those two, like, I think they're cool. One thing I will note, I love how Sock's, like, what do you call it? There's a specific name. It's gi. Is that the name of it? It's like gi that it's wearing is like kind of like got a blue hue to it because Sock's like actually blue. So I think it's really cool, these two Pokemon. Again, I have always felt though, like I wish they could have given me a bit more. Like I wish they had something else. I'm going to put that this is the easiest B tier of the day. I've always liked them. They're the top of B tier as well. I've always liked them. They're cool. They have cool shinies. Throw's shinies green, like a lime green. Sock's shinies purple. Like, they're solid, cool Pokemon, but, like, I don't know. I've always wished they just had something else. Like, I feel like they don't have enough. Maybe if they had a pre-evolution, I'd like them better, which honestly doesn't make too much sense, but, like, I don't know. They're just two Pokemon that I've always thought needed just something, just a little bit of a boost to be just that much better. Now we have this next line. It's Swaddle. Oh, what's the middle one? Leavanny's the last one. Swaddle. Oh my gosh. And I don't have one in Pokemon Go. I have to check the decks. I have a Leavanny, but I don't like. I looked to see if I had one. What's this guy's name? Swadloon. Swaddle, Swadloon, and Leavanny. This. Oh my god. Wait. Actually, now I think of it. This was on my team. This was on my original. Have I just remembered my whole original playthrough team? Hang on, I gotta write this down. For those that don't know, I've been trying to remember my original playthrough team for so long, and I can't, for the life of me, I haven't been able to remember it. Hang on, let me... I'm gonna write this down. My original playthrough team. I had Superior the Snivy. I had a Conkeldurr. I think a Leavanny. Definitely an Unpheasant. Now, I did have more than 6 Pokemon. I know, I'm not going to say the other ones just yet. But I think that, I'm still at 6. What am I missing? I said Seismitoad. I don't think I ever evolved it to Seismitoad, though. I'm pretty sure I threw it back into the box before I got it to Seismitoad. That's it. I think that's my team. I think I finally just remembered my original playthrough team after all these years. Because, like, I had a Seismitoad, but was Palpitoad. I don't think I ever evolved into Seismitoad. It got thrown into the box. I had a Boulder. I never evolved. That got thrown into the box. I had a, I had the Simipour, which I got thrown into the box. I just remembered I had a Leavanny. I had a Leavanny on my team. I've always liked these. I've always thought these guys were cool. Ash had one as well that he evolved all the way to Leavanny. One of the few Pokemon he managed to evolve all the way in the Unova anime. Or black and white anime, I should say. So, I've always liked these. Leavanny, Swaloon, and Swaddle. I think I'm going to put them A tier. I'm going to put the whole line A tier. Because like I said, I've always liked them. I'll put Leavanny above Emboar. Nah. Emboar's got a cool shiny. Let's do that. That looks solid. Have them up in A tier. They're cool. The cool bug. They're bug grass, actually, right? I was hesitant there to say that. Yeah, bug grass, the whole line. Like, what's his name? Swaddle's definitely a caterpillar. Then you have Swadloon, that's like the cocoon type thing. Then you have Leavanny, like it's like a praying mantis type Pokemon. I think it's cool. I've always liked them, like I said. And I like how they, like, Swaddle and Leavanny have, like, the leaf behind their head. I've always thought that was really cool as well. Like I said, Pokemon I used in my original playthrough, so I got some, like, nostalgia for them there. Oh, God, these guys. Whirlipede, Scolipede, and then... It's not Venonat. Venipede, Whirlipede, Scolipede. Now, these guys are so annoying, dude. Why do they just look mean? I've always thought they were so annoying. Scolipede's fine. I'll put it in B tier. Yeah, I'll put it B tier. This thing, I've never liked. Venipede, but this one, though. Why is this one so cool? Is it just me? I'm getting the names right? Whirlipede, Venipede, Whirlipede, Scolipede. Like, Scolipede I never liked that much. Now, I know it is massive. What is it based on, though? A centipede, maybe? And they just have it standing up? Honestly, if it was like laying out flat like a centipede, and if Scolipede wasn't like upwards like that, I think it would be way cooler. But I've never liked it too much. I'll put it down in I'll put it below Oshawott. I'll put it right there. Venipede, I've never liked that thing. It's always been annoying to me. But Whirlipede, dude, that thing's so cool. The colors are completely different than the other two. It's got the, like, purple and purplish gray and stuff. And it's shaped like the ball like that. I think that's so cool. Is that not awesome? I've always liked that thing, so easy A tier for me. I'm actually going to put it above Pignite and Swadloon. And Swaddle, actually. Do I like it more than Tepig? Nah, I'll leave it below. I'll leave it below Tepig for there. I've always liked that thing. I've always thought it was cool. So we'll put it right there. Then we have Cottony and Whimsicott are Gen 5? Wait, Lilligant's Gen 5 too? Actually, not thinking, what gen did I think they were? Wow. Honestly, that kind of surprises me. These 4 are Gen 5. I mean, these things are fine. I will note, Hisui and Lilligant I think is pretty cool. Yo, Jack, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Hisui and Lilligant I do think is really cool. Petlil's fine. Whimsicott I do kind of like. I'll put that up here in B tier. I'll put Whimsicott above Scolipede. And then Cottony I've always liked as well. I'll put Cottony up there too. Lilligant and them, though, like, I don't know. They're kind of bland and boring, if I'm being honest. Again, Hisui and Lilligant I like. I think that one's really cool. This one, though, like, kind of just a little too basic for me. I don't really like them too much. There's nothing really pops or special about them. Then we have Basculin. Would eventually get Basculegion in the Hisui one. Look at that. Actually, back-to-back Pokemon in the decks that got Hisui forms. Lilligant and Basculegion. But Basculin is based on a bass, obviously. Or actually, not obviously. I guess there are people I'm from the U.S., so it's obvious for me. But there's people from all over the world, so it might not be obvious there. But it's based on a bass with 100%. And there's largemouth and smallmouth bass. And so Basculin I've always kind of liked. I like fishing and stuff, but it's nothing that's ever blown me away. So it's like literally middle of the road average Pokemon to a T. Absolutely for me. But then this next line. Talk about middle-of-the-road average Pokemon. These guys are anything but that. These guys are the exact opposite of that, actually, you could say. Sandile, Krokorok, Krookodile. Ash's ace Pokemon from Pokemon Black and White. He had the one with the sunglasses on. Which, in Pokemon Go, they have to give us some special Krookodile with the sunglasses. Like, they gave us the Squirtle Squad Squirtle with the sunglasses. Why can't they give us Krookodile with the red sunglasses? That would be so cool. What they should have done is, like, at the end of the Journey's anime, when Ash's, like, journey was coming to an end, what they should have done was do, like, some of his most popular Pokemon from each gen. Like, they should have had, like, an event in the game. And with that, they could have given us the Sandile with the glasses. That would have been so cool, but they didn't. Again, maybe one day, maybe one day. But with these guys here, they'd rather give us Absol with a top hat than give us Crocodile with Ash's sunglasses. Or not Ash's sunglasses, Ash's Crocodile with the sunglasses. That would be so sick. But this whole line right here, I've always liked. I love like crocodiles and alligators. I've mentioned that before. And this line is just, I think these might be, so I will note design-wise, in terms of based on like a crocodile or alligator, I don't think these are the best. Again, I think Skeledirge is the best probably, but these ones here, like Crocodile, these are my favorite out of all of the crocodile, alligator type Pokemon for sure. Crocodile I'm going to put actually above Duat. Yeah, I'm going to put it just below Superior, up in S tier. The other two I'll put, I like Sandile. Crocorock can stay down. I'll put Crocorock above Girder. This line's awesome. The shinies like gold. We had one Sir Crocodile in the playthrough. Like, they're awesome. I've always liked these guys. So, easy S tier for me. Again, I had one of these on my first playthrough team. And the way in which I would use these was kind of funny. So, I had Crocodile and I had Outrage, and I knew Outrage was a good move, so I'm like, I'm just gonna spam Outrage. Literally all I did with my Crocodile was spam Outrage. I have vivid memories of going into the Elite Four, specifically going like against the dark type guy and throwing out Crocodile and just spamming Outrage. Like, that's all I would do. So again, this might be a little nostalgia for me for why I like Crocodile so much, because I literally remember using it in my first ever playthrough. But Crocodile is a Pokemon I've always liked, always loved, and I think this is kind of a fan favorite as well from Unova as a whole. So Crocodile deserves its spot up there in S tier for sure. Now we have Darumaka and Darmanitan. Now these two right here, like, I don't know. I like them. I'll say that. I do like them. Although, this is kind of, again, like, throw and sock. Like, I kind of wish they did more or had more. Like, now we would get Galarian Darmanitan, which is kind of goofy looking. It can go a rather high CP in Pokemon Go, so I do like it a bit because of that. Like, these are easy A-tier mons. No doubt about that. But, or actually, you know, as I'm looking at more, I might move the 3 monkeys right there up to A-tier. Darumaka is actually going to go here. Yeah, Darumaka will go down there. I might change that. I don't know. I'll have to come back to that. But, Darmanitan. Actually, where should Darmanitan go? Above Zebstrika. Yes. Above Excadrill. Ooh, which do I like better? Leavanny or Darmanitan? I'm going to leave it below Leavanny. I'm going to just put Darmanitan right there. Darmanitan's cool. What's it based on? I honestly don't know. I think it looks cool, though. I like the Zen form that it has. I'm sure everyone has memories of going to the ones in, like, that sand area, and there's the Zen form one sitting outside the entrance to this, like, this underground sandcastle place, the ruins and all that stuff over there. So, I've always liked it because of that. And Darmanitan as a whole, like, again, it looks cool. It looks like it'd be some big, crazy powerhouse Pokemon. It's not, like, super strong, but it's a good, like, middle-of-the-road Pokemon. I wonder if they gave it a regional already, so I don't think they'll give it an evolution. But, like, this could be one, maybe a Mega you could see. Like, it could get some cool new form. Like, again, it did get the form with the regionals. They probably won't touch it, but, like, this is one I felt like the potential's there, like, for it to just be, it looks cool, but they have the potential to make this thing insane. I've always felt that with Darmanitan. That's kind of the story of a couple of Pokemon here from Unova, now that I think of it. Then we have this, what's that? Isn't the Cacnea is not, no, it's not Cacnea. Maractus. I don't have one of these, actually. Whoa, I don't have one of these in Pokemon Go. These are one of the few I don't have. Maractus. Actually, what the heck don't I? I've never even seen. The one after Scrafty. Oh, Sigilyph. Oh, that's because that's in Egypt, I think. Right? Sigilyph's native to Egypt? I think it might be. I've never even seen one in Pokemon Go. That's crazy. But Maractus. Maractus is cool. It's like a maraca type cactus thing. I believe it, like, can I play its cry? What if no audio? Well, my audio's off in Pokemon Go. That would make sense. Unova. Yeah, let's get... Yeah, you can hear it a little bit at the end there. The doo-doo, doo-doo. You can hear that a little bit there at the end with the doo-doo. So, Maractus is, it's fine. Again, it's like, we already have Cacnea and Cacturne, which I like way better than this thing. But, I mean, I do like that they added the flowers and stuff to it, because the other ones were cactuses that were just with the cactus part. They added the flowers to it, added the yellow eyes. Like, they did do effort to make this one better. They did add effort to make this one better. So, or not to make it better, I should say, to change it up a bit. So, I'll put it in B tier. I'll put it B tier. We'll put it above Scolipede. We'll put it right there in B tier. I think that's a solid spot for it. This next one, though. Dwebble and Crustle. The crust and the little guy Dwebble. Yo, Mitchell, thank you for tuning in. These two right here, I mean, these are S tier. So you guys know how much I love playing Pokemon Unite. I've mentioned that time and time again. And when I first started playing Pokemon Unite, the first Pokemon I was playing was Snorlax. And then I wanted to use someone else, and I was trying to figure out who to get. And I went against a Crustle with Score Shield that just sat in the base and scored, and I could do absolutely nothing about it. Now, I am using a Snorlax. I don't have a lot of DPS, but still, I could do absolutely nothing about stopping this Crustle from scoring in the game. And so, what I decided is, like, you know what? I'm getting Crustle. It was during, like, the event where, like, Crustle had just recently come out. So this was the first Pokemon I ever bought in Pokemon Unite, besides, like, the basic starter Pokemon they give you at the beginning. So I used Crustle for a while there. I loved playing, like, the Stealth Rocks, is it Stone Edge? Rock Tomb? It might be Rock Tomb, the one where you put up the walls and stuff. I didn't use, like, there's Shell Smash and Fury Cutter. I never really used those too much. It was mainly Stealth Rocks for me. You use Scope Lens with Stealth Rocks and then put the walls up and trap them in there. I was using that way back then. Like, that was so much fun to use, but I don't really use Crustle too much anymore. Crustle was OP actually last season, and they nerfed him. I mean, I have mentioned before, the 5-stack I ran with when I would grind all the time with Decidueye and got to 45th in the world. We had a Crustle and a Decidueye on the team. Those were, at the time, the unanimous 2 worst Pokemon in Pokemon Unite, yet we balled out nonetheless. And then Crustle was finally good last season, then they nerfed it. Again, me just expressing how much I hate Pokemon Unite right now. They take a Pokemon that was bad, that I loved in the game. They finally had it to where it was decent. Crustle wasn't overpowered. It wasn't broken. It was finally decent. And then they nerf it, and then make the overpowered Pokemon even more overpowered. So Pokemon Unite is an absolute shambles right now. The people that are running that game have absolutely no idea what they're doing. But Crustle is a Pokemon that I loved playing with in Pokemon Unite. So because of that, we got him up in S tier. Now, I will note, I remember in the area of the Pokemon Black and White, I think it's the bottom left of the map. When you go down over by the area where there's the like research lab with Genesect, over there, like, Crustles spawn. I feel like they're there in the, like, a static spawn. Like how I mentioned there's the Zen form Darmanitans in the desert. I feel like I remember seeing, like, the rock from Crustle. You might not be able to encounter them or anything like that. It might just be them being there, but because the rock's so big, you can see them. I think there might be those in the game. Dude, I gotta replay Black and White. I really do. We have to play Black and White on stream. That's one thing I gotta do. I don't even know how to stream from a DS. I don't even know what ports a DS has to plug in the capture card to, so I'll have to figure that out, but I definitely want to play a Black and White game on stream. I think that'd be fun. But that area of the map, I have memories of seeing Crustle over there. So, again, just some more reasons. Like, I have these nostalgia factors and stuff where I think back to my first ever playthrough and all that stuff. And also, too, using it in Pokemon Unite. I've liked it because of that. Crustle's just a awesome Pokemon. You know what? Actually, Crustle's going to go... I'm moving Crustle up. I'll leave Dwebble right there. Crustle's going up just below Crocodile. Crustle's one of the best. He's one of the best. Literally, just before I started the stream as well. Look, I literally screenshotted this because... I was gonna send into the group chat I have with my the people I play with. And it's like, I gotta show you guys. This is hilarious. I can't believe this. I literally screenshotted this. Look, 8:47 a.m. The stream started at 8:48. If you're ever sad, just remember the world is 4.543 billion years old, and you somehow managed to exist at the same time as Crustle. The little guy Crustle, or the big guy Crustle. The Crust! You managed to live and exist at the same time as the bad boy himself, Crustle. So just, that can always put a smile on your face. Crustle's S tier for sure, no doubt about it. Moving on now! Who do we have next? Scrafty and Scraggy. Now these two, you know, I feel like some people do like them. There's DSs out there with capture cards already installed, but they're rare and expensive now. Now, see, I have my original. I have a DS and a 3DS, and then I have all the games and stuff. Because, like Purple Rodri and stuff played on the DS, I'm pretty sure. There has to be a way to do it. I'll have to look into that. Because I have Soul Silver too. And then I could, like, go through my old save files and stuff. That I'll have to figure out how to do it. Well, I'll figure it out. But here we have Scrafty and Scraggy. Now, these two right here, honestly, like, are they meant to be, like, what are they? Like, they had the sagging pants, right? That's what they have. They're meant to be, like, I don't know. What are they based on? Just people? What, are they just trying to be like the U.S. people? Putting a mask on and having saggy pants? Is that what Pokemon's saying? I mean, they've been fine. Like, they're fine. I don't dislike them, but, like, I'm not going to put them in B tier because, like, I'll put them above Moo. No, I'll put Scrag. I'll put them right there. I do like Scraggy better than Scrafty. You'll put Scraggy at the top of C tier. Scrafty I'll leave back there. Like, I don't know. Like, yo, Agent 4, thank you for taking the time to tune in. I appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Like, these guys are fine. Like, I've never loved them. I don't hate them at the same time, so I'll leave them there in C tier. I think average is a perfect spot for them. I could see people being upset about that one, though. I could see people... You know what? Should I bump Scolipede down? I want to move Scolipede down. Yeah, I'll move Scolipede down to there. Scrafty, though, again, I've never loved it. Never hated it at the same time, though, so I'll leave it right there. Now we have, it's Sigilyph, I believe. And this is regional in Pokemon Go to a specific area. I want to look up where it is. Where? I think it's Egypt. Where is Sigilyph Regional 2? Sigilyph. Albania, Egypt, Greece, and Israel. Wow. Whoa. Actually, look at this. Gen 5 has a lot of regionals. You have, I'm going to read off all the regionals from Gen 5. There's kind of a lot. Pansage, Pansear, Panpour, Throw, Sock, Basculin, Maractus, Sigilyph, Boufflant, Heatmore, Durant. Wow. Where's Maractus? Southern states of North America. Okay, I don't have a Maractus. Basculin. Basculin, just the two forms. There's a red one and the blue one. Those just are based on, like, it says west of the meridian line. So, depending on east and west of that. Throw is North America and South America. Sock is Europe, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and Middle East. I've gotten those, though, from GoFest. They spawned all over. Panpour, Pansear, Pansage. Panpour is the Americas. Pansear is Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India. Then Pansage is Asia Pacific. Sorry. I have all three of those because those three all spawned in events as well. But Sigilyph I've never gotten, which is Regional 2. Albania, Egypt, Greece, and Israel. I thought I saw something on Instagram of someone having one in Egypt. Which is kind of cool that they, like, I love ancient Egypt. It's one of my favorite aspects of, like, history to research and learn about. And here we got the two, like, Egyptian-type Pokemon back-to-back. You have Yamask and, Cofagrigus there as well. Cofagrigus clearly the sarcophagus that they would put the mummies and pharaohs and all that stuff. That's clearly what that's based on. But I saw Jacket. You said that something, right? Looks Native American. Yeah. Doesn't Sigilyph, it does, like, so I took a class on Native American history. And Sigilyph honestly reminds me more so of, I've never taken a class on, like, ancient Egypt and Egyptian culture and all that stuff. I have researched it on my own, though. But if I were to link Sigilyph to something, I would say it looks more so like kind of like it would fit Native American lore a bit more. Because it kind of has, like, the faces and stuff kind of resemble what would be, like, a totem pole. And then, like, Native Americans as a whole, it's, like, kind of just, like, the Great Spirit. There aren't very many, like, specific descriptions or depictions of the stuff they, like, believed in and worshipped. It was just kind of, like, nature and the Great Spirit and all that stuff. And you did have things like the Thunderbird and all that, which is, like, Zapdos is clearly based on. But, like, with Sigilyph right here, it doesn't really fit anything specific. Like, I don't even know how to describe this thing. And so because that, like, some of the Native American culture, like, it doesn't really have, like, something that's its main, like, the main thing they worship isn't really described or depicted. And so, like, this could kind of fit that because there isn't really a description of it. And you look at this as, like, how would you even describe this thing in the first place? But I assume it has, I mean, with it being that part of the world, it had, like, with a lot of the regionals, they do tend to try to base them on, like, something like that, like, something with the culture and all that stuff. So I assume it is based on something there that I just don't know about. But I do feel like it fit perfectly with, like, Native Americans because, again, Unova's based on the United States, and Native Americans are what inhabited the United States before the European colonists came over here. So I think that would just make sense for that. So, honestly, because of this thing, I'm going to put this up in, I'll put it up in A tier. You know why I'm going to put it in A tier? Because the first time I ever played this game, I remember seeing this thing, and I was so confused at what this thing was. I wasn't scared of it when I was little, but I just thought it was weird. Like, it's just kind of like an oddball, creepy, goofy-looking Pokemon. Again, and I feel like, is this not something that could have, like, maybe some crazy evolution or have some lore tie into it or a regional or something like that? Like, I feel like that's so easy and obvious right there for something like Sigilyph. It's a cool Pokemon, though, nonetheless. Speaking of Pokemon that got cool regionals, we have Yamask and Cofagrigus, which we would get Galarian Yamask and Runerigus, both of which are awesome. I love these things. I think it's cool how Cofagrigus is, like, it'll be up floating around, and then when there's someone inside the sarcophagus, it's, like, back on all fours, like, walking on its back. Like, I think that's really cool. These Pokemon as a whole, they're from that area in the game. I can't believe I can't think of what the ruins are called. Once we rank these, once we decide where these are going to go, I'm going to look it up. But these are B tier mons for sure. I don't think I like it better than Maractus, so I'm going to leave it there. Yamask is pretty cool. I'll put it right there. I'll put it right below Cofagrigus. What is the name of those? Does anyone remember? Pokemon Black and White Desert Ruins. What was the name of them? Desert Resort was the area. What were the ruins called, though? Relic Castle. Relic Castle. In the Desert Resort, you have Relic Castle. Yeah. Relic Castle. They're in there. I always have loved that area. We'll get into in a little bit why I like that area so much in the game. That's towards the end of the tier list we've got right here when we get into that Pokemon. But the Relic Castle is super cool. One of my favorite places in all of Pokemon, and these Pokemon are down there in abundance. Ooh, now we have... The tier list is missing a Pokemon. Or did I accidentally move it myself? Nah, the tier list is missing a Pokemon! We've never had this before. We're missing one. Right? There's no other ones I'm missing, right? Hey, I'm just scanning through. We're missing one right here. One of the fossils. My favorite fossil actually from this gen. They got the birds. All the legendaries are there. Yeah. We're missing one. Wow. No, I never noticed that. We never had this before. I should have looked closer before I started the stream. But we are missing Archeops. One of the fossils. We have Tortuga. Oh, God. Caracosta. Thank God I remember that. Tortuga, Caracosta, Archon, and Archeops. Now, for a while there, Tortuga was the rarest Pokemon in Pokemon Go. You might be thinking, what do you mean? Those things, you can get those easily now. Yes, you can. Has recently, or since they were rare, I think it was last year, there was the fossil event. I know it was last year. I don't remember when last year, though. There was the fossil event last year where you had these things in abundance. Although before that, they were insanely rare. They had been out for a couple years. Me and my brothers had only seen 2 of them. One of them we were out driving and we couldn't go get. And the second one I found when I was leaving the gym. And what I did was I caught the one, logged out of my account, logged into my brother's account, caught it on his account, and then we both had it. Then we traded them at Lucky Trades, and we put it in in gyms and stuff. That was like the ultimate flex that we had. Having a Caracosta when nobody even had Tortuga. A lot of people might not think, like, Pokemon goes weird like that sometimes. We're like the rarest Pokemon in the game. Because it does change it changes all the time. Because, like, they'll make events where Pokemon become more accessible. Like, Axew, for instance, became more accessible with the Calm Day and all that stuff. And right now, I would say the rarest one probably is Volcarona still. Because it's accessible only via eggs. And, I mean, it's insanely hard to hatch in the eggs. But before that stuff, we had Caracosta and Tortuga as being the 2 rarest Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and I had one while they were the rarest Pokemon in the game. So I've always liked them a bit more because of that. I like the turtles. I like the fossil Pokemon as a whole. I've always just really liked. Always thought fossil Pokemon were cool. I will note the order in which I like them. It would go Archeops, Caracosta, Archon, Tortuga. No, Tortuga I'm putting above Archon. I do like Archeops. Archeops is really cool. These are A tier, though. For sure. Let's put it above. I'm going to put all the fossils above Sigilyph right there. I wish we had Archeops on here. I don't know why it's not here. I didn't accidentally move it, did I? I don't think so. I don't see it anywhere. I don't think I did. I just think it's straight up not here. One thing I have noticed with this gen, does anyone else feel like this? It's just dark. Like, you look at the colors of the Pokemon, they're really dark. Not like dark, like evil or like spooky or depressing, like that kind of stuff. I just mean like, they're just mainly darker colors. Like a lot of grays and browns and black and like, does anyone else feel that with this gen as a whole? I've always thought that maybe it's because like the games, the background, like when you're scrolling through the Pokédex, the background is black. And so maybe that's why I've always thought that. But like, if you hold this, once we're done with the tier list and I do the recap thing, and I'm interested to compare that side by side with the other gens. But like, I look at like, I don't know, Hoenn, or even Sinnoh, or like Kalos. Like, I feel like they're so much brighter and there's so much more like vibrant colors. This one's so dark, I feel, and like lacks those vibrant colors a lot. A lot more earthy colors, you could say. That's a good way to describe it. It doesn't have a lot of vibrant colors, has a lot more earthy colors with the Pokemon as a whole. Like, look at B tier. Orange, brown, orange, black, brown, gray, green, black, gray, or black, brown, green, brown. Oshawott is like it's got darker blues on it. Audino, tan, Panpour, all 3 of those there got like the brownish orange on them. Pidove, gray, like all these browns, the oranges, the grays, the greens, like that's the whole thing. Thank God I remember to mention that. I wanted to mention that. I remember. Ooh, now we have Garbodor and Trubbish, the trash Pokemon. Yo, Pokemon's just taking shots at the U.S., huh? With these guys right here. I mean, deservingly so. You see New York. People talk about going to New York. They don't have alleys, so all the trash is in the street, and it's just disgusting. But how do they have a city with no? I'm not gonna just get into this. But how do you have a city with no alleyways? That's just so weird. But Here we have Trubbish and Garbodor. Now, I'm sure some people would want me to put these rather low, but here's the thing when I look at these. I look at these Pokemon, and I think of the inspiration for them. And I think about how they made these. Like, when Pokemon made these two, they didn't intend for these to be some super cool powerhouse Pokemon. Like these next two we're going to get into after this, Zorua and Zoroark, those are meant to be cool Pokemon. These two right here aren't meant to be crazy cool Pokemon. They're based on garbage. And they nailed it to a T, I think, for how they look. So because of that, I'll put them down here in C tier. I'm not going to put them anything higher. I am going to make sure to put them above Samurott and Pansage, though. But, like, I can acknowledge and respect that they did a good job at going for at nailing, what they were going for. Gotta stretch. They did a good job at nailing what they were going for there, so I can respect that, and I'll put them in C tier as a result. With these next two, though, like those ones I said weren't meant to be cool. They designed it with an intention to literally be garbage, and they made them the perfect garbage Pokemon. These next two, though, were meant to be cool, and they are cool. Zorua and Zoroark. Now, these are kind of like Lucario and Riolu, right? If you think about it. Lucario and Riolu. Riolu is like the baby form, you can say, and Lucario is the big, bad, strong one. Zorua is kind of like the baby form, and Zoroark is the big, bad, strong one. Lucario had its own movie, essentially, and everyone thought it was a legendary because of that. Zoroark had its own movie, essentially, and everyone thought it was a legendary because of that as well. And then you look at the kind of the lore or theories, you could say, with N being a Zoroark. Like, this Pokemon is kind of like it kind of embodies Unova as a whole, right? I was mentioning the darker colors. A lot of people think N is a Zoroark. Now, the reason why they say that is because, like, they've shown images of the Zoroark and stuff, but they've never shown N and the Zoroark side by side. So that's why everyone thinks Zoroark is N, which is a crazy theory. And once again, is something kind of like that is literally set up perfectly to be there and be a thing, but it's like Pokemon are going to miss out on it and not do it for who knows what reason. But I've always really liked Zoroark. I've always thought it was really cool. I'm not going to put it above Crustle. I will put it above Duat. We have the Hisuian Zoroark we're using right now in Legends Arceus, which is insane, dude. By far my favorite of the Hisuian Pokemon we got. And Zoroark as a whole is just a really cool Pokemon. The illusion Pokemon is such a cool concept. How this Pokemon is portrayed. And again, the idea with, like, it being N, like, adding that even if that's not true, like, I'm going to watch a video later today of that, like, just to kind of catch up on that, like, to kind of, like, clarify the lore and everything with it, because I believe what it is, because you follow the Zoroark around in N's castle, if I'm not mistaken, and the thing is, you never see Zoroark and N side by side anywhere, but they're both present in the same places multiple times, I believe, in the games and in the story and all that stuff. Yet, they might be in the, like for instance, they were both in N's castle, but we never saw them together in N's castle. Which all that stuff I just find interesting. So, I'll have to look at that some more. We'll talk about that tomorrow when we're doing a shiny hunt tomorrow. I'll bring that up and we'll talk about that in a bit. I think we should shiny hunt this thing because it's so cool. But Zoroark, I think, is really cool. Awesome Pokemon. The illusion Pokemon. Definite S tier Pokemon there for sure. We don't have very many S tier mons, do we? We're going to get into some. Don't worry. We got the heavy hitters coming up in a bit. In a little bit, we got the heavy hitters. These two things, the Chinchilla Pokemon, like, they're average. I don't even got anything else to say about them. Just average. I'll leave them right there. Then we have Gothita, Gothitelle, Gothorita. Which is which? I don't know. These two... These two lines here, actually, they're both psychic types. You have, the, Duosian, Solosis, and Renicluse, whatever its name is. These two are both psychics. I always thought the Gothoritas were that line. I always thought that was a dark type. Because they're, like, they got the dark type colors, and this other one that's, like, kind of their counterpart is psychic. So, dark and psychic, like, that would kind of make sense, but they're not. So, I've been wrong my whole life. But they're fine. I'll put that one B tier. And then these ones I'm going to put in, there we go. Put these ones in C tier. Again, don't take this to heart too much if anyone's getting upset about this. Like, they're fine. They're average. I don't really care about these, but these guys I don't care about. I've never used them in the games. I never will. Like, I'm just throwing them in there to throw them in there. Then these next ones, like, these are fine. I'll put them in, they're kind of creepy looking, aren't they? I'll put this one in. I'll put it just above. Nah, I'll put it a bit higher. But I don't even want to put it above the mummy. We'll leave them there. The Duosion and all of them, we'll put down over here, above Herdier. This one's, the first one's kind of creepy with that, like, little twirly thing on the top right of its head. I might want to put that one lower. I actually am. Yeah, that one's a little creepy because of that. So we'll put them there. There, that's solid, that's solid. Then we have Ducklet and Swanna. Duck Pokemon, Swan Pokemon. This was Skyla's ace, right? Swanna? I think it was. It's a cool Pokemon. We'll put it in B tier. Let's go. I'll put it above those psychic types we just did. Then Ducklet, I honestly kind of like. Ducklet I'll put up here with these guys. I do like Ducklet better than Swanna. I think Ducklet's a cool Pokemon. We'll put it up there just below the Monkey Trio. Now we have the Vanilla Ice Cream Pokemon. Now these guys, when we did the Pokemon I would be most likely to eat, I believe I put these towards the top. I think they might have been actually number 1. The Pokemon I'd like to eat the most because I love ice cream. As Pokemon, though, dude, what the heck are these things? These are F tier. Like, what even are those? I'll put this one in C because it looks like the nice little Dairy Queen soft serve cone. But what are these things, dude? Vanillite and Vanillux? Or, that's the name, right? It's Vanillish, Vanillite, Vanillux, I believe, right? Why do I keep closing Pokemon Go, then I have to go load in and reopen it again and again and again. I think those are the names, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to make sure I have the names right for each one because I don't want to be mixing it up and saying I'm putting Vanillish in D tier and then Vanillish is in C tier and Vanillux is in D tier. Don't want to be messing anything up. Let me go to Unova. Let's see. So we have Vanillite. That's the soft serve cone. That's in C tier. Then Vanillish and Vanillux. Like, Vanillish and Vanillux absolutely suck, dude. Like, they're not disgusting worthy, but they suck. What are they? It's just the ice cream cone. And then literally the evolution, you just add another ice cream cone, just add a straw. Like, they're L Pokemon. L Pokemon for sure. Leaving them down there in F tier. Now we have Deerling and Stantler. I've always liked these. Now, they are annoying in the terrarium because they're grass types. And when we're shiny hunting the grass type starters, they spawn in abundance. But I love the fact that they have all the different forms. I think that's so cool that Pokemon did that. Gave these guys each a different form per the different seasons and all that. That's such a cool detail they added in. So I'm going to put them up here. You know, Swadloon's actually going down. Swadloon, you're getting bumped down. Deerling and Stantler, though, I think that's solid, actually, right where they're at. Now, I'll put it above the Whirlipede. I think that's solid there. There we go. That's a solid spot for them. They're cool. My favorite part about them, like I said, is the fact that they have all these different forms. Like, they change with the weather. Like, for those that don't know, like, deer and stuff, kind of, they have the antlers, like, grow the antlers, shed the antlers. That's the, I don't know too much about deer, but I do know that's something that takes place. And they kind of have the same idea here with, like, the trees on, as the antlers, and, like, the flowers and plants and the trees grow and stuff per the different seasons. Like, this is the springtime one right here. It's got the flowers and stuff. The wintertime one is barren. There's nothing on it. The summertime one is the big bushy green, because, like, for the trees during the summer. And then the fall one is, like, orange for like the autumn leaves and all that stuff. So it's really it's really cool. And like with a lot of the US being like 4-season states, I think that's a cool like concept to tie into like the kind of the region itself, that is the what the region itself is based on. Oh, this next one we have a Malga, the flying squirrel Pokemon. Now I like flying squirrels. I think they're pretty cool. But again, this is just the Pikachu knockoff of this gen. I really don't care too much about it. I'm going to throw it down a C tier. We'll put it below Herdier. I'll put it above Herdier. It's just a knockoff. I'll put it above Venipede. The knockoff Pikachu Pokemon of this gen. All I really got to say about it. Now we have Carablast and Escavalier, the things you have to trade to evolve. And Actually, we should do their counterpart right now as well. Shelmet and a Selgor. Now, these guys are cool. The first evolutions are meh. I'm going to put them in B tier. Shelmet and I think it is Carablast, I believe. But then Escavalier and a Selgor, I've always liked. I've always thought they were cool. These are going up in A tier. Where in A tier, I do, like, look at this guy. It's like bandaged up, like some speed mummy type thing. A Selgor's I've always thought really cool. Escavalier, I'll put Escavalier down a little bit. I don't like it that much. Like, it's fine. I definitely like a Selgor way better. These are the things I currently take out in the jungle in Pokemon Unite, or when I would play Pokemon Unite in the Thea Sky Ruins. But these two are really cool. Again, I love a Selgor with, like, it reminds me of, like, it's almost like bandaged up like a mummy, and it's like some speedy fast mon. And then you have Escavalier as like the jousting, like a knight type thing, which I don't like too much. I like a Selgor way better, but both of them are cool Pokemon. I will acknowledge that and gladly put them both up in A tier. Dude, is this the least amount we've had in an S tier? Yo, Pimply, thank you for tuning in. Is this the least amount we've had in an S tier for a stream? It might be. We've got some heat coming up, though, so don't worry. Now we have Foongus and Amoongus. Dude, these things are annoying. I play VGC just a little bit. These things are so annoying going against in there. Some of the most common popular Pokemon there are Spore, Protect, Rage Powder. Oh my god, don't even get me started. I'll put them in B tier. I think it's cool that they're based on the Pokeball. Like, we have, like, Electrode and Voltorb, which are quite literally a Pokeball. But then these are, like, the mushroom with the Pokeball design on them. I don't know how many times I ran into the different Foongus thinking it was a Pokeball in black and white, but it is what it is. We move on and get past that. But I've liked them. I've always liked these guys. I'm going to put them just below the monkeys. Both of them side by side because I think it's cool they're based on the Pokemon. And also, too, again, this isn't like based on, I'm not taking too much into account like VGC and all that stuff. I know if this was VGC, Amoongus would probably be up in S tier, arguably God tier. But this is just based on how, mainly just the looks of the Pokemon as a whole, if I'm being completely honest, amongst the rest of the Unova Pokemon. So I'm putting it in B tier. B tier is a solid spot for it. Now we have these things. Oh, God. It's the ghost jellyfish things. Now, I will note, let me just get this over with. That thing's F tier. Jellicent. It is better than the stupid ice cream cones, though, I'll tell you that. It's Frillish and Jellicent, right? Just gotta check and make sure. Pull out the decks. Dude, it feels so cool saying I'm pulling up the decks and I just open up Pokemon Go. Yeah, Frillish and Jellicent. Jellicent sucks. They do have the male-female version. The male one being blue, the female one being pink. Jellicent, I don't even know what to say about it. It's got the big head. I don't know if this is what it's meant to be, but it has a mustache. Like, I've always disliked that. This, though, Frillish is really, really cool. I don't know. It's like the ghost. Is it ghost poison? Oh, it's water ghost. Sorry, I was thinking it was poison maybe because of the jellyfish being poison. But see, here's their, so Jellicent's the floating Pokemon. Its dex entry is, fishermen are terrified of Jellicent. It's rumored to drag them into the sea and steal their lives away. While Frillish, the dex entry is the floating Pokemon once again, and its dex entry states, using the invisible poison spikes on its veil-like arms and legs, it paralyzes its enemies and causes them to drown. See, I think this would have been a better, like, ghost poison type me, but I guess Gengar is already ghost poison, so they try to change it up with water, and with it being the jellyfish in the water does kind of make sense, but this is actually going up an A tier for me. I'll put it between those two, above Zebstrika. I really like this thing. It's really cool. Like, this is a Pokemon, like, we were talking, where's the Pokemon we were talking about that, like, needed more? Throw and Sock. Like, those are a Pokemon that I feel need more. Frillish? Honestly, I would have been fine with just Frillish. I think it's cool. Frillish on its own is a awesome design. Jellicent sucks. It just looks big, dumb, and goofy. I don't like it whatsoever. And speaking of another thing I don't like whatsoever, Alola Mola. Why is this thing in 10k eggs? Why do I hatch it all the time in 10k eggs in Pokemon Go? I can't stand that thing as well. Both those two suck right there. Both down in F tier, deservingly so. they both suck. I can't stand either of them. I was thinking for a little bit, though, we weren't going to have an F tier Pokemon. We were just going to have the D tier mons and the disgusting mons. But no, there's F tier Pokemon from Unova. There are definitely F tier Pokemon from Unova with those 4 right there, without a doubt. We might have some more as we continue on. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But now we have Joltik. It's Joltik. I said Joltik, and I'm like second guessing myself. No, it is Joltik and Galvantula. Joltik and Galvantula. Now, in the terrarium, in the Blueberry Academy, in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, if you go into the Chargestone Cavern, you see Joltiks, and they're like jolting all around. It's so cool how you see them move around. It looks like they're like lagging or glitching, but like that's how they're meant to move around, because they're like jolting around with all the electricity and stuff running through them. I will note, I like Joltik better than Galvantula. Galvantula, though, is going to be a B tier mon. Towards the top of B tier as well. I'll put it right there. We'll put it right there. Joltik, though, I do think is cool, so I'll bump up into A tier. We'll put it, where in A tier? Should I put it above Whirlipede? I do like the colors on it. I'll put it above Escavalier and Whirlipede. We'll put it right there. Joltik's a cool little guy. The Alola Mola thing. It is the worst Pokemon competitively wise and design wise, in my opinion. Yo, Pimply, I appreciate you watching and I appreciate your opinion. You have a W opinion right there. We're saying the stupid Alola Mola things down there as some of the worst Pokemon there is. I agree. It was in 10K eggs in Pokemon Go for so long. I can't tell you how many times I would go 10 kilometers in Pokemon Go, be so excited to get something good, and then I just have absolute disappointment with this thing right here. Yo! TAF 5003. Sorry, I missed the alert. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate that. Dude, actually, how many subs are we at? We're getting close. We're 3 subscribers away from 1,100. To everyone that's been subscribing, thank you so much. We've gained 2 subscribers already this stream. I really appreciate everyone that's been subscribing and watching this stream. It means a lot. I've been excited to do this Unova tier list because with this tier list, like I said, we were meant to do Unova last week. We did Kalos instead because of the announcement of the Kalos games. And now we're going in out of order. We're doing Unova now. But when we were doing Kalos, I'm like, Kalos would be the most underrated gen of all time because like we were doing the tier list of all the Pokemon. I'm like, there's no bad Pokemon from Kalos. Kalos, like, look at S tier. S tier's we aren't done, but S tier's kind of barren right now. S tier was absolutely stacked for Kalos. Now I was like, I wonder how it's going to be compared to Unova, because Kalos has less than half the Pokemon Unova has. And you might be thinking, why? Some people might think, well, it's obvious. Like, some people probably do like Kalos better than Unova, but for me, Black and White are my favorite Pokemon games of all time. So that's why I was kind of surprised at that. So I'm excited to see how this tier list will end up once we're all said and done. But now we have, dude, again, this is the dark, like color-wise, this is the darkest colors of any generation. They have such dark, earthy colors. There's no really bright, vibrant colors on anyone, really. Like Carablast, maybe. Snivy, maybe. But again, it's like green. And it's like, those are like, in blue, like those are the earthy colors as well. Like, I don't know. It just, and even like the shades of like blue and red, like look at Darmanitan, look at Seismitoad. They have red and blue, which normally could be bright, vibrant colors, but they're like kind of the more like toned down versions of them. I've just always found that so interesting with this gen. But now we have, like I said, Ferrothorn and Ferroseed. Where should I put these guys? Ferrothorn and Ferroseed. These guys are annoying in Gen 7 OU. I will note. Dude, Ferrothorn, oh my god, that thing's so annoying. What are they even based on? Does the deck say what they're based on? Because I have no idea. Ferroseed, the Thorn Seed Pokemon. It absorbs the iron it finds in the rock while clinging to the ceiling. It shoots spikes when in danger. Ferrothorn, they attach themselves to cave ceilings, firing steel spikes at targets passing beneath them. Ferroseed is the Thorn Seed Pokemon, and Ferrothorn is the Thorn Pod Pokemon. I mean, they're good enough. Ferrothorn is good Gen 7 OU. It might still be good in OU. I don't even know. 4 times weak to fire. Sorry. But, honestly, I'm just going to leave them in B tier here. Because they are above average. I'll note that. They are most definitely above average. In design-wise alone, I'll put them above the sarcophagus. But I don't want to put him any higher. I'll leave him there. Leave him there in B tier. That's a fine spot for him. Now these ones right here. So not last stream, but the stream before, the Rockruff stream. I was explaining how me and my friends would play the Pokemon TCG. And when we would battle, we made our own rules, essentially. We would do 6v6 on the ground. You flip them over, battle each card, and then we had the damage output was determined on the moves. Now, if the move said like 60 times, that we, in our heads, when we were idiots, we did 60 times 60. We didn't actually read the effect description of the card. We just did, oh, it's times, just multiply the number by itself. And there was a Kling Clang card with 140 health. It was a steel type, weak to fire, that had like 80 times 80 damage. So it's one tap in everybody, and I always used this card, I remember, and it was OP and insane. Again, once we changed the rules, that one went away. That went away completely. But this was OP for a while there because of that. And I always liked Kling Clang a bit, literally just because of how I used that card. So I'm gonna put it up in B tier. Again, I'm saying like I have a nostalgia factor for it, and it's still just going in B tier. Now I'll put it right there. Now I'll put it above. Now I'll put it below. Right there. These ones though, Clang. What are even the names? Clink, Clang, Kling, Clang. I mean, these guys suck. They're down in D tier. Like, these are kind of just base, like, what's even going on? Like, basic, boring Pokemon, like, I mean, Cling, Clang, Kling, Clang, and they're just the gears. Like, come on, Pokemon, come with better ideas from that. Come with better ideas than this stuff right here. Joao, every time when I play Pokemon Black and White, I use Crocodile. Dude, Crocodile's the best. He's one of my favorite Pokemon from the gen. Look, we got him up there in S tier. Hopefully, imagine Crocodile gets a Mega into new games. That would be insane. Ferrothorn is rarely seen in Gen 9 OU, but if there isn't a fire type to handle it, it can cause a problem. So, okay. The last OU I really played was Gen 8, and I didn't see Ferrothorn at all. I just remember Gen 7 OU, Ferrothorn being a problem I'd always go against. Just caught Sandile on my Gen 5 playthrough yesterday. Hey, congrats! Sandile's such a sick one. It's like a staple. Right when you go, you leave the city, you go to the desert resort, and you just find and catch Sandile right away. That's like a essentially tradition in Pokemon Black and White. Who do we have next here, though? Oh, these guys. Time Pull, Electrode, Electros. I've always liked these. I don't know why. Now, I will note the sprite for... I gotta show the sprite because the image they have here doesn't reflect the actual sprite. So, I'm gonna show you the sprite of these things in Pokemon Go. And normally in game. That's Electros. That sucks. It, like, just swimming in place like that, that sucks. It looks so much better, like, right here. Like, it's standing up. Now, I believe these are based on those, like, sucker fish that, like, stick to you and suck your blood. I remember seeing Jeremy Wade. Shout out River Monsters and Jeremy Wade. Dude, they're awesome. Jeremy Wade, that show, I loved that show. It was so cool. And he did an episode where he found all these things. What are they called, actually? Are they just called suckerfish? No, there's suckermouth catfish. No. What are they called? River monsters, blood sucking fish. They might not even be a fish. It might be more so an eel. A lamprey. That's what they're based on. A lamprey, dude. You guys got to look up. If you haven't seen this yet, you got to look up lamprey. What? I was saying fish. What is a lamprey? Oh, it is technically a fish. Yeah, these things are crazy. Lampreys are a group of jawless fish comprising the order... Oh, that's some big, like, specific research technological term. I can't read that. I'll show you guys an image of what I'm talking about. Look, this is it. These things. You ever seen a lamprey? Look, that's its eye up there, and then that's its mouth. Look at that thing, dude. And they, like, stick to you and, like, with all those teeth in there, like, suck on you and stuff. Look, look, look. Here's another image. Look at how terrifying. Imagine swimming in a river and seeing that thing swimming towards you. That would be terrifying. I believe that's what these are based on. Probably, honestly, these are probably a hybrid, though. Because you think about it, there's electric eels as well. and this is obviously an electric type. So it's probably a combo of both. It's a leech. No, these aren't based on a leech. Electric. Yeah. Oh, Pimply, you said electric eel. Yeah. I assume it's based on a combo of both because like eels don't have mouths like that. Like that, the lamprey thing. Like look at Electros's hands, its mouth and face, and look at the pre-evolution. Like it's definitely has the lamprey inspiration, and I think the electricity comes from the electric eel, which combines like two. Like I mentioned, River Monsters is one of my favorite shows I've ever watched. That show was awesome. And these two here are definitely based on that. Time Pole, I honestly don't even know what that's based on. Because I think we were talking about this the other day. Eels are like, eels are the Pokemon we've never seen, like, reproduce or anything like that, right? We have no idea how new eels are created. It just kind of happens. Oh, hey, I've got to ban someone on Twitch. Look at this. Dude, I mean, I feel like on Twitch, we're banning people more than we're not. Boost viewers for free? Like, get out of here, buddy. Boost viewers? Pfft. Ban. There we go. I'm not boosting my viewers. Get out of here. There we go. Wait, why didn't the message go away? I thought I just banned them. It went away on the other chat. Doesn't go away on my end? Whatever. It is what it is. Sorry. With Electros right here, I've always liked these things. This is S tier for me. I've always liked Electros. I think it's a super cool Pokemon. Again, the sprite it has is disappointing. Of it, like, swimming like that there. Like, yo, I have an exam tomorrow, but I will subscribe to you and watch you tomorrow. Yo, Pimply, thank you so much. For the streams, we stream every morning like this, and then every evening. Like, tonight, we're gonna go live, and we'll be playing, oh, no, actually, no, we're not playing anything tonight. We're doing that favorite Pokemon, like, picker thing. We're doing that tonight. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. But, hey, I appreciate you subscribing. Thank you so much, Pimply, and thank you for taking the time to tune in today. It means a lot. Actually, with you subscribing, we're getting close. Yeah, 1,098. 1,098. That's crazy, dude. We're closing in on 1,100. All right. We put Electros up there. Then these guys, it's Electros, Electrode, and Time Pole. Time Pole's so tiny, dude. It's so small. Let me see. Dude, I got the Lamprey popped up on my screen when I looked it up. I want to read the dex entry for let me read the dex entry for Time Pole real quick. The eelfish Pokemon, Tynmo. I was saying Time Pole, my bad. Tynmo. One alone can emit one trickle of electricity. Wait, no. One alone can emit only a trickle of electricity, so a group of them gather to unleash a powerful electric shock. Then electric. I was saying the names completely wrong for these things. Electric. Oh, they are based on eels. Electros, electric. Yeah. They're based on eels 100%. And I assume that the what's his name as well, the thing I mentioned, the lamprey. But the electric is these Pokemon have a big appetite. When they spot their prey, they attack it and paralyze it with electricity. Then Electros. They crawl out of the ocean using their arms. They will attack prey on shore and immediately drag it into the ocean. That's terrifying. That's like that land fish Pokemon that can climb up on shore. That thing's terrifying as well. But those guys there, I'll throw an A tier. They're cool. Based on the eels and all that stuff, I'll leave them just down there. We have Electros up in S tier. It is going to go up here above Dwebble, below Conkeldurr. See, now we're getting into some of the Pokemon I really like. Some of the Pokemon I really like from Unova with Electros right there. One of my favorite ones for sure. Now we have, it's Behem, and what's the other one's name? Behem and LGM. The alien Pokemon. Got that weird cry. The alien type Pokemon. Now, these two right here. Yo, Jackaroo, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Now we have Behem and LGM. Now, these are based on aliens. Because for those that don't know, in the United States of America, We have this place called Area 51. I wonder if people all around the world know that. Like, Vineet, you said you're from India. Have you heard of Area 51? Area 51 of the US is like some of the craziest lore you'll ever hear. Area 51 is a place out in New Mexico. It is a military base. Now, in Area 51, everyone thinks they have aliens. So everyone around the world knows Area 51. Okay, perfect. I didn't want to assume that everyone just knew what Area 51 was, because I do know people watch from all over the world, but good. So everyone knows what Area 51 is. There was the wreck crash in Roswell, New Mexico back in, I don't even know what year, but then like all the information of it just went away. Then they brought the stuff from the wreck to Area 51. Everyone assumed it was aliens and all that stuff. And so everyone thinks to this day that there's aliens and all that stuff in Area 51. Is there actually? I don't know. The government's come out and said many times, it's like, no, it's not. Area 51, like for a while there, I think they didn't even like acknowledge that Area 51 existed, but they counted like Area 51 is, yeah, it's a thing, but it's like, it has like old stuff. It's not by no means have aliens or anything like that. But then you get even deeper. Like, I like conspiracy theories and all this stuff, so I've dove into this. Like, there's apparently an underground railway system the government built to access Area 51 and all that stuff. Like, dude, it's insane, all the stuff with Area 51 and all the aliens and stuff about that. So that's definitely the influence here for BHM and LGM, these two alien things right here. Although, despite them being based on Area... Why is the tier list is like... Maybe because we have too many mons in here? It's like lagging. So, BHM and LGM, like... Despite them being based on Area 51, the aliens, I love conspiracies and all that stuff. I mean, I don't think they're the best Pokemon design. I do think they look kind of bad. I'm going to put them below the Trashmon. I don't really like how they look. I do think they look a little weird. Now, again... Were they going for that? Probably. They're aliens. They probably wanted them to look weird and confusing and all that stuff. If I'm not wrong, there was a woman personality who said if she became the president, she would reveal the secrets and mystery of Area 51. I think there was someone that said that. I don't remember who. Dude, honestly, the presidential stuff, it's so, like... You can't have, like, people can't just have debate. It's so, like, again, that's why I mentioned, like religion, politics. I ain't diving into that stuff on YouTube because people get so mad about that type of stuff if you don't agree with their opinions. So I don't even mention it whatsoever, but, like, that stuff's so crazy. I didn't even look into it. But I do remember there being someone that was like, if I win, I'll tell you guys everything. Would they be allowed to do that? I don't even know. Because, like, yeah, they're the president, but, like, with how the government works in the U.S., like, the president isn't, like, a king. Like, they can't just do whatever they want. So, would they have even been able to do that in the first place? I have no idea. I'm sure the government would have said something like, for the safety of the U.S. citizens, they can't do that or something like that, or some explanation like that. Do I want to know what's in Area 51? Yeah. Do I want to know if there's aliens? Yeah. I think there has to be aliens. Have we ever talked about this on the channel? I don't know if we ever have. I don't know if we've ever dove into this. Aliens being real. I gotta bring that up during, like, the next shiny hunt where we're just rambling and babbling on about all kinds of stuff. Aliens have to be real. There's no way we're alone. There's no possible way. But then I was listening to someone the other day with who was it? I think it was the Jinxie podcast. He was talking with Moist Critical, and I think that's what it was. And Moist Critical was saying, like, and he kind of hit home something that I bring up a lot. Like, we can't even fathom the technology needed for intergalactic space travel, to travel from, like, not even just planet to planet at an efficient rate, from galaxy to galaxy. We can't even fathom that type of technology. Like, it's not even... We have absolutely no idea how something like that's possible. It would, honestly, if something like that were possible, it would defy all the laws of physics and stuff we know of and how everything works. Like, it would completely shatter everything we think is right now. But what he was saying was, like, he was explaining that. He's like, you have these beings that have the capability to do that. Space travel efficiently. And you're telling me that if they're here just so out of every planet in the world, if they so happen to be here in our planet, at our planet, if they don't want us to see them, we're not going to see them. Like, there's no way they accidentally get seen. Like, unless it's like Star Trek. There's that one I don't remember which Star Trek movie it was. It was one of the newer ones where at the start of it, they're on that planet. The planet was all red, and like it was like Captain Kirk was like flying away in like the big the Star Trek ship, like the big circular one. He was flying away in that thing, and the people back at like his base got mad at him because they're like, you revealed a spaceship to these people who don't even have haven't even harnessed the power of fire or something like that yet. Like, he's like, you revealed yourself to them, and that species is nowhere near, like, they don't even have technology or any technologies, like, I want to say, like, electronics and that kind of stuff. They barely even have fire now, and you exposed an intergalactic spaceship to them. They're gonna think that's some crazy god. Like, is that something, but, like, here's the thing. I'm basing this on a movie, the intro to the movie of Star Trek. But, like, could something like that not be real? Because you think about it, it's like, I mean, who at these other planets, like, how easy, like, are the only elite of the elites able to access spaceships and fly around? Or is it like, are just like normal people able to get in a spaceship and fly around? And if it's just normal people, yeah, they're out just messing around. Oh shoot, we got seen by the humans on Earth. Like, I could see, like, as dumb and stupid as what I'm explaining right now sounds, like, can you not, like, if you believe in alien life, can you not imagine something like that happening? Like, right? Like, we're getting off on a tangent here. I could explain this on and on for hours. I'll have to bring this up. I definitely have to bring this up in one of the next shiny hunts we do. Aliens are real, billions of stars and trillions of planets around them. I could go on and on with that. The Hubble Space Telescope picture, I love that as well. It is in fact, there might be aliens, faraway planets. If a planet is like 1,000 of light years away, we might be able to check that because light won't be able to reach. Dude, the light year stuff honestly confuses me. It's like, it's crazy to think about. Like, the light takes so long to get here that the stuff we're seeing over there is from thousands, like, it's so from thousands of years ago. Like, it's so crazy it's hard to even fathom that stuff. It's crazy to think about. It's insane. But back to the tier list here. We've got a big one. We've got a big one right here. Chandelure. One of the best Pokemon designs there is. You have Litwick based on a candle, Lampent based on a lamp, and Chandelure based on a chandelier. They are ghost fire types. They're like a candle that's possessed, a lamp that's possessed, a chandelier that's possessed. The fire, because a chandelier, a lamp, and a Litwick, and a candle all emit light, so the fire fits perfectly with them. Their shinies are absolutely awesome. Shiny Chandelure, the fire is orange. Like, these are S tier. This whole evolution line. S tier. S tier. Oh, it's freezing up. Dude, I think that the tier lists start to get like a little glitchy once we get a lot of Pokemon in them. S tier. Oh, that's A tier. And Chandelure is going just below Crustle. Lampent and Litwick will go down there. Easy S tier Pokemon. Easy S tier Pokemon. Without a doubt. These things are so cool. Like, and here's the thing too. These are like, there's some stuff people might disagree with. I think the majority of people will agree that Chandelure is an S tier mon. Chandelure it's a fan favorite. Like, when we did the ranking, when we were looking at the what's it called? The top, what'd they do? Top 20? The top 20 Pokemon ranking thing. The poll Google did with Pokemon did with Google, and they had the voting for all the Pokemon. Chandelure is one of the top ones from Unova. Chandelure is one of the top ones from Unova. It's one of the best Pokemon there is. Genuinely. Speaking of some of the best Pokemon there are. Dude, we're getting into the heavy hitters now. We have Axew, Fracture, and Haxorus. These three right here are elite. Axew, Fracture, and Haxorus. Haxorus is shiny. Might be one of the best shinies of all time. This is a line right here that a lot of people think is the pseudo-legendary. It's so cool. It's not the pseudo-legendary, spoiler alert, but it is one of the best Pokemon, without a doubt, from Unova, and one of the best from, I mean, just Pokemon as a whole. This design right here is just perfection. Pure Dragon type. You have Drayden with it. Iris has the Axew. Iris would eventually have the Haxorus as her ace Pokemon. Fracture and Axew, I kind of have a story to tell about real quick. I'll put them right there. So, Fracture and Axew. Axew was available in 10K eggs in Pokemon Go eventually. It was released when Unova was released, and eventually it was released in 10K eggs in Pokemon Go. Really rare. My brother managed to hatch one, and then they became available during GoFest. Not last GoFest, but the GoFest before, via raids. It kind of sucked, because that was the only thing to do in day 2 of GoFest, and if you played GoFest, you were easily able to get a Haxorus and stuff then. But Axew was really only accessible then, spawning here and there on incenses during the GoFest, and then also being in the raids. Then eventually last June, I believe it was, we had the Axew Com Day, so then Axew was easily accessible in the game. But for a long time, Axew was the rarest Pokemon in the game, without a doubt. And shortly after when Unova came out, I'm going to bed. It's the middle of winter. It might have been like 1 a.m. or something like that. I check Pokemon Go. And for those that don't know, in Pokemon Go, if there's a Pokemon on the nearby for you that you don't have, the nearby will show further away Pokemon at further away Pokestops than normal. So say I'm right, this is the range in like this circle right here. What the heck is that? The heart's popping up on the screen? My hand. Say my fist is the range right here of what I normally see on my nearby list in Pokemon Go. But then if there's an unknown Pokemon, say the whole screen is the range now that the nearby will show up if there's a Pokemon that's unknown. It'll show the grayed out silhouette for that whole area right there. And there was a Fracture. It was not super far away from me. It was a little bit, it was like maybe, like it wasn't enough to get out and run to. I would have had to drive to it. And it was like 1 a.m., the middle of winter, and I literally saw it. I thought there was snow on the ground, everything. It was freezing cold outside. I literally thought to myself, I'm like, oh, if I'm seeing one of these right now, surely I'll see a bunch more later on. I have no reason to run out and go catch this thing right now. That's the worst mistake I've ever made in Pokemon Go. I could have had a Fracture like within the first month or something Unova was out. I didn't end up seeing another... I didn't end up seeing another one. Or not, I've never seen another one actually since then. Never seen another one since then. And I wouldn't see an Axew until GoFest 2022. I wonder if I can see. What's the oldest Univamon I have in Pokemon Go? Can I get the year when it came out? Again, they during GoFest 2022, Axew was essentially the main thing. Let's see, what's the oldest Univamon I have? We have Litwick 2022, Tynmo's 2021, 2020. So it might have been beginning of 2021. 1/6/2021, 2021. What the starters? Starters come out early. Starters always come out at the start of the generation. So I should check that first. Do I have old Snivy? 2021, 2021, 2020. Okay, so they came out 2020. So I saw one 2020. I saw a wild Fracture in 2020. Didn't go get it. Yeah. They must have come out beginning, because I have an Emboar from 4/3/2020. So it would have been like winter, beginning of the year, 2020. I saw a wild Fracture in the middle of the night during the snow. Didn't go get it, so I'm like, oh, if I'm seeing one of these already, surely I'll see some more. It wouldn't be until 2022 that I would even get an Axew. 2 full years later. So I should have gone to catch that, but I didn't. But I've always kind of liked Fracture a bit more because of that. Because of that story I have where I could have and should have gone to get one, and I just didn't. It's like the Pokemon that got away from me for a while. But its evolution. Haxorus. Like I've mentioned before, has one of the best shinies of all time. Haxorus is a Pokemon that a lot of people think is the pseudo-legendary of this gen. I will note, I do like this Pokemon better than the pseudo-legendary of this gen. It's an armor-plated dragon with 2 giant red swords/axes hanging out each side of its mouth. It's got 2 massive red blades on its mouth. Its shiny's all black. It's a perfect Pokemon. Haxorus is God tier for me. It might be the only God tier Pokemon from this gen. Haxorus for me is just absolutely perfect. One of my favorite Pokemon of all time. One of the best shinies of all time. Definitely my favorite Pokemon from this generation, from Unova, from Gen 5. Haxorus is just so cool. A lot of people are hoping we get a Mega Haxorus with the new Megas in this next game. Now, I look at Haxorus. I've said this for a lot of Pokemon. There's a lot of Pokemon that people really want to see get Megas. Flygon, Crocodile are some names that I agree that I think should get Megas. Any of the other starters I'd be happy with seeing getting a Mega. Although Haxorus is one I feel that it's almost too perfect. Like, what would they add on to it? Would they just make the blades bigger? Like, what would they do? Like, honestly, I think Haxorus is so perfect. Like, I wouldn't want them to touch it because I feel it would only mess it up. In the Pokemon Journeys anime, we had the episode in the first round of Cynthia battling Iris. We got to see Iris's Haxorus go toe-to-toe with Cynthia's Mega Garchomp. It was not a very long battle, but the battle we saw there was one of the best battles we've ever seen in the entire Pokemon anime. It was so cool, and if anything, like, I loved Haxorus before that, but that solidified as, like, okay, Haxorus was one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. It is so cool. Easy God tier decision right there. Now moving on, we have Beartic in Cubchoo. No, I think I was mentioning this, was it? It was last tier list. We had Pangoro. And I'm like, most bear Pokemon I like. I don't really like Pangoro. If I had to pick a favorite bear Pokemon, it might be Beartic. I have always really liked Beartic. Beartic, for me, it's the polar bear. I always like polar bears. So I'm putting it up here. I'll put it just below Emboar and just above Leavanny. Then Cubchoo, I think, is funny. I like how it's got, like, the snot dripping out of its nose. And it's, like, this weak little mon, and it evolves into a polar bear. Like, it's so cool. I really like it. I think Beartic's an awesome Pokemon. Putting it up there in A tier. Then we have this thing, Cryogonal. And Stunfisk as well. I'll do both of these side by side. Like, Stunfisk would eventually get Galarian Stunfisk, which is... Stunfisk, you know what? Stunfisk kind of sucks. It's annoying in Go Battle League and Great League. I hate going against that thing. So it's going to be down here below Behem and them. Down C tier. And Cryogonal, like, it looks cool. I think it's a cool Pokemon. But, like, once again, like, we were just talking. Who did I just mention is fine on its own? I just had something that was, like, is on its own and is perfectly fine on its own. Oh, I said Frillish. Frillish should be on its own, doesn't need an evolution. Cryogonal isn't good enough on its own. It needs something else. It needs some sort of evolution. It looks cool. I love it's like the ice snowflake thing. Like, it's a cool design, but, like, it needs some evolution. I'm sorry. I've always thought it did. It's kind of, on its own, it isn't the best. Then we have Minfu and Minxiao. These two are cool. Mustard, this is his ace Pokemon. I'm saying the name right? Dude, why do I keep closing Pokemon Go? Then I have to open it. Like, I'm just subconsciously closing the app. Then I have to go back and reopen it and just do this song and dance again and again and again. By the way, I was replaying X and Y, and there was a text saying Xerneas and Yveltal awaken in every 1,000 years, so we might not see the legendaries. We might not see them? That'd be interesting. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Xerneas and Yveltal, so that wouldn't really bother me too much. But a lot of people are saying they want it to get a new form. I think that'd be cool if it got a form. But as I'm explaining here, Minfu and Minxiao, they're A tier mons. I'll put them up in A tier. What are they based on, actually? What kind of animal are these guys based on? A badger, maybe? They're cool. I like I think it's cool that Mustard had the one. I'll put it right there below Frillish. Then this one we'll leave it down there, bottom of A tier. We'll put him there. That's a solid spot for him up in A tier. Then we have Druddigan. I've always liked Druddigan. Druddigan's got a cool shiny. In Dragon Spiral Tower, I always remember seeing these things. It's cool. Easy A tier mon for sure. But here's the problem when we get the tier list filled up like this. There's so many Pokemon, it's just kind of, the stuff just in the way. Druddigan I'll put above Leavanny. Below Beartic. Druddigan's one, like, it looks cool on its own. I love how the head is all red. Do you think this thing needs a Mega? Honestly, I'd say this thing needs a Mega more than Haxorus, because Haxorus is peak as is. Druddigan is kind of like meh. Like, it could be better. Maybe a pre-evolution? I don't know. It's just like your basic dragon type. It's not, like, insanely cool, but it's not bad. It's just bang average. But, like, in terms of Unova as a whole, like, in terms of dragon types, it's bang average. It's Unova as a whole. I got it up in A tier for sure. Druddigan's cool. It's got a cool shiny, too. It's red and green. Or, no, orange and green. This one here I love. Golurk's S tier for me. Golurk is S tier for me. I love Golurk. Golett as well, I think, is cool. Golett I'll probably put in A or B. Let's see. Golett, you'll go in B tier maybe? Nah, Golett, we'll bump you up into A tier. We'll put you just above Pignite. Golurk I've always liked. I'll put it below Dwebble. I've always thought Golurk was cool. It's just this massive, like, Titan Pokemon. Like, it's just so cool. It's got that, like, the lore around it is it's got that, like, band across its chest that, like, holds it together. And if you, like, broke that band off, it, like, unleashed this insane power and, like, amidst a fit of rage. Like, we had an episode of Journeys where that happened with Go's Golurk, if I'm not mistaken. It's so cool. I think it's really awesome. I liked in Journeys, too, we saw a raid battle with the massive Golurk. I thought that was really cool, too. So Golurk, definitely S tier for me. I've always really liked that Pokemon. Then Pawniard and Bisharp. Now, if I'm being honest, these two alone, I never really, like, loved. Once we got King Gambit, I really, really started to like these two some more. But they're good Pokemon. Bisharp is easy A tier. I'll put it below Druddigan. I did. It's got a cool shiny, too. Yeah, I'll leave it below Druddigan. Some people might want Bisharp up in S tier, but I'm not going to put it up in S tier. Then Pawniard I'll put right there. First ever Pokemon we shiny hunted on the channel. Actually, this is kind of, you know, a legend here on the channel. First ever stream I did was shiny hunting Bisharps and Pawniards. I'll put him in A tier. King Gambit I think is really cool. I think it really levels up the Pokemon a lot, but Bisharp was always cool on its own. I liked it. It's a cool mon. Then we have Bouffalant. Now, Bouffalant's like the buffalo Pokemon. Now, this doesn't really make too much sense to me. We were talking about regionals earlier in the stream. Bouffalant's regional to specifically New York City. I don't know if Buffalo were ever in New York City for as long as the United States of America has been a thing. Maybe back before the United States government was here and established. But since the creation of the United States of America, which is what Unova is based on, I don't think Buffaloes have ever been in New York. Now, you got the Buffalo Bills, the football team. But in actuality, now, Buffalo, maybe there were. I don't think there were. Like, Buffaloes are like the plains and all that stuff. Like, I don't get why they're exclusive to New York. It is a cool Pokemon, though. Alder had one. And so, I've always liked it. I'll put it in, do I like it more than Druddigan? Definitely A tier. Not above Emboar. You know what? I'll put it below Bisharp, because Bisharp we got the sentimental attachment to for it being the first ever stream. We'll put it there. These next birds are pretty cool. We have Braviary and Mandibuzz. Now, these two are based on two birds commonly seen in the U.S. I guess not commonly seen. Braviary is meant to be like a bald eagle type thing, I'm assuming. Got red, white, and blue. Its head's like a bald eagle. It's a bald eagle Pokemon. Like, I think it's cool they did that. And then Mandibuzz is like the vultures, or like, what's the other one? There's another one that's like a vulture. Not condors. Vultures and... maybe it is a buzzard? Or is that just a different way to say vulture? Maybe it is meant to be a condor, though. Condors are massive, though. Nah, it's a vulture. It's a vulture nonetheless. With the bald head, no skin on it or anything like that. Yeah, they're cool. I like them. Again, love the inspiration for them. These Pokemon were game exclusives. One was exclusive to black. The other was exclusive to white. Speaking of birds, I hear some birds screaming outside my window. Dude, there's so many Pokemon here. Is this the biggest tier list we've ever done? 150-something Pokemon? This is bigger than Kanto by a little bit. These guys are A tier. Honestly, Braviary, I'm not the... yes, it's based on a bald eagle. I'm not the biggest fan of it, though. I'll put it above Victini, below Snivy. Mandibuzz I like better than Braviary. I love Rufflet in the other one. It's like the little baby bird. And then you have the... what's the name of the other one? Rufflet and who? Do I have one? Yeah, Volibee. Volibee's the name of it. I like Volibee. I think they're cool. So again, once again, like when we get into the bottom of the tiers, like the bottom of A tier here, the middle bottom of B tier, don't take it too much to heart. Like I'm just kind of throwing them in there. If I'm being honest, like the only thing that really matters is the top of the tiers. That's where it really gets specific with the differences. Like in the middle is like as long as they're there in the tier, that's all that matters. Hisuian Braviary looks better. I do agree. I do think Hisuian Braviary does look better. I love the psychic eye things above its face. Like I think those are super cool. All right, these things suck. Heatmore and Durant. I mean, Durant. Here's the kind of thing about Durant. I saw something about this yesterday. It said the dex entry says Durant got I saw a meme about this. Durant has the hardened steel to make it like stronger against fire. But it's a bug steel type. It's 4 times weak against fire. I've never really liked either one of these. I think they're annoying. I'm not going to put them in F tier. I'll put them in D tier though. I've never really liked either of them. Heatmore. Now Heatmore is one of those like legendary type Pokemon. Heatmore from Kalos, because I mentioned there's the village where Ash Greninja, like we learned some of the lore of the original Ash Greninja. There's the pictures on the walls of the different Pokemon. There's a Ash Greninja or Battle Bond Greninja. There's a Staraptor and there's a Heatmore. The Staraptor's sick. Ash Greninja's obviously awesome. Heatmore sucks. That's the worst one, but it is what it is. Where would you rank Hisuian Braviary? I'd probably put it at the top of A tier. I wouldn't put it S tier. I'd probably put it top of A tier. Maybe above Seismitoad or maybe between Seismitoad and Unpheasant. Somewhere right in there. Still be an A tier. I would just move it up an A tier. But now we move on to the pseudo-legendary. And actually, these next 2 sets of Pokemon we have are 2 of the, I think, the 2 highest evolution level Pokemon in the game. Zwelios evolves the Hydra... I have to look this up. What level does Zwelios evolve? Level... okay, this is insane. Dino becomes Zwelios at level 50. Zwelios becomes Hydreigon at level 64. Oh my god. Larvesta's 59. Like, these next 2 here evolve at an insanely high level. But before we get into Larvesta and Volcarona, we have the pseudo-legendary of this region. Hydreigon. Dino Zwelios Hydreigon. Colors, awesome. Shinies, awesome. Designs, great. Hydreigon, though, I don't know. Hydreigon, for me, has always been a Pokemon. Like, I like Dino, I like Zwelios. You see the legs on Zwelios? How it has the 4 legs? I almost wish Hydreigon had that. Like, I always feel like Hydreigon's missing something. I look at it like it's awesome. The Hydra Pokemon, the multiple heads, the wings on the back, it's so cool. But I've always thought Hydreigon was missing something. It has an awesome shiny, Dark Dragon. It's perfect. But to me, it's just not quite perfect. And we were doing the pseudo-legendary tier list, and it dawned on me. It has no front legs. It has these scrawny little back legs that just hang off. And its front legs or arms are the heads, which is cool, although I think it takes away from the design and make it look like it's missing something. That's just my thoughts on it. Now, I will note, these are all S tier. This whole line is definitely S tier. No doubt. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Hydreigon, Zwellios, Dino. All S tier. Dino's one of the cooler first stages of the pseudo-legendaries, in my opinion. Zwellios is as well. Put it right there. And then Dino, I'll put right there. I'll put Dino above Axew. I like Dino better than Axew. Dino's got a better shiny. Then Hydreigon, I'll put right here above, Hydreigon or Electros. Neither one's going above Conkeldurr. But Hydreigon has is missing the legs. But Electros has this stupid sprite. Hydreigon is a better shiny. I'll put Hydreigon above Electros. Conkeldurr and Hydreigon. I'll leave Hydreigon there. I do like Hydreigon better than Conkeldurr. And Duat. We'll leave it there. Hydreigon will stay below Zoroark right there. It ain't going any higher. Now, again, in my pseudo-legendary tier list, it wasn't that high, but that was, again, comparing it to the other pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Here against Unova, it is one of the better Pokemon Unova has. It is a cool design. It has a phenomenal shiny, like I said. It's just missing the front legs. I know it's got the heads as the front legs, which is cool. That's the multiple heads. Hydra, Hydreigon. I think it's awesome. But I do just wish it had some sort of front legs. I think it would have made the design so much better. Because you look at Salamence. Salamence has those 4 legs. And, like, why is Mega Salamence so bad? It doesn't have legs. Like, it's the same thing right here. It's the same thing right here. Like, look at Zwellios' legs. Zwellios has all 4 legs and the 2 heads. Why couldn't Hydreigon give Zwellios' legs to Hydreigon, leave Hydreigon's heads as is? Give Zwellios' 4 legs, put them on the Hydreigon. Hydreigon instantly, for me, starts shooting up on all the tier lists we've done with it. Instantly becomes way better. No doubt about that. No doubt about that for me. You know, we gotta do a Dragon-type Pokemon tier list. That'd be a sick one. Okay, but moving on now, we have the final normal Pokemon, or I should say non-legendary Pokemon of Unova. Although they're not legendaries, I'm sure, similar to myself, a lot of you originally thought that Volcarona was a legendary Pokemon. It's down in the bottom of the... I just forgot the name, but we just looked it up. Desert Resort Ruins. What are they called? The Desert Resort Ruins. What are they called? Relic Castle, Relic Castle, Relic Castle. In the Desert Resort, you have Relic Castle. And at the very bottom of the Relic Castle, you have a static spawn of Volcarona. It looks like a legendary Pokemon. It legit looks like a legendary Pokemon in there. It is so cool, so awesome. This is based on, like, the Native American aspect of, like, the sun deity god type thing we were talking about. You have Alder as the champion, who is most definitely based on, like, a Native American tribal chief with his outfit and hair and all that stuff. And his ace Pokemon is Volcarona. Culturally, we mentioned this before when we did the champion tier list. Culturally, that might be the best champion there is. We're tying into the cultural aspects of the region. Again, the Unova is based on the U.S., Native Americans being there from the U.S. and all that stuff, Alder being based on like a Native American tribal chief, and then him having the buffalo with Bouffalant, and then having Volcarona as like the sun god type thing. Like, it is absolutely perfect. Volcarona is a peak design. It's OP as well. It's super cool. Has a good shiny. Like, Volcarona is just a awesome Pokemon. I don't know if I'm going to put it God tier, though. I kind of want to leave Haxorus up there alone. Volcarona is definitely top of S tier for me. Do I want to put it... No, I think I have to put it God tier. I thought this thing was a legendary Pokemon when I first saw it. It has to be. Then Larvesta, you'll be down here. I'll put you above Sandile. Now I'll put you below Sandile. Now you'll go right there, Larvesta. That's a good spot. Be happy you're in S tier. Now, I think Volcarona should be up in God tier. Volcarona is elite. Volcarona is elite. One of the coolest Pokemon of all time, without a doubt. Got both forms, Iron Moth and Slitherwing, in the Paradoxes in Scarlet and Violet, and neither one, though, I think, can compete with how cool the original design is. It's so awesome. Moving on now. We have the Legendaries. Now, at the start here, I mean, I'm just going to jump out and say it. Keldeo sucks. Keldeo's awful. It's not going below the Simisear and Simipour, but nah, you know what? That's kind of harsh. I do want those to be in their own tier down there to show how bad they are. Keldeo's gonna go down there with them. Yeah, Keldeo sucks. Keldeo sucks. The Swords of Justice. Now, in terms of legendary trios as a whole, they're the worst one. Honestly, might be below the Lake Guardians for me. Nah, I think I like them better than the Lake Guardians. But, I like them better than Lake Guardians because I enjoyed finding them in the games. Cabalions in that, like, cave where you have to use Flash, but I didn't know how to use Flash, so I went through and found it in the dark the first time I played the game. And then Terrakion is often, like, I remember there's the one area, it's like it goes down, across, and then down. You're like the cave thing, and there's the wall you break through and go get it. Virizion is in Pinwheel Forest, the place you're in at the very start of the game. I think that's cool as well. I always like that when there's, like, the legendaries, like, they're there, like, where you are at the very beginning of the game. Like, they did that in Sinnoh with one of the Lake Guardians. I think those concepts they add in are really cool. But as a whole, they're not the best. I don't really like them too much. We'll put them... do I like them more than the monkeys? I'll probably say I do. We'll put them in the top of B tier. I'll put them in the top of B tier. I really don't like them too much. I don't think they're that great. The Swords of Justice. And then they've got Keldeo. Keldeo sucks, man. That thing's down there in F tier. I don't like those too much whatsoever. But hey, before we get into some other ones, we'll end with the box legendary. So now let's do Meloetta and Genesect. Meloetta kind of sucks too. I really don't care about Meloetta. It's down there in D tier. Genesect has a cool shiny, and I like how you find it in the game in, like, black and white and black, or is it black and white or black 2 white 2? One of the games you find it in that like room, and like I said, that we were mentioning where the crystals were, I think, before. In the bottom left of the map, there's, like, that lab, and there's, like, it's all destroyed and stuff. That's where, like, Genesect was and all that. Like, they made it. Its shiny's really cool. Genesect will go up in A tier. I'll put it below Emboar. I think that's a good spot for Genesect. Shiny Genesect's really cool. There was a cool movie with all the Genesects. There was a shiny Genesect, and there was Mewtwo and Mega Mewtwo and all that stuff. So I'll put it up there. Genesect's cool. I will note in Pokemon Go, when they re-release Genesect and act like they're announcing a new Pokemon into the raids, when it's just Genesect with a different move, I don't care about that, but it is cool. It is a cool Pokemon. I will acknowledge that. Now we have some of my favorite legendary Pokemon there are. The Genies. Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus. Now, I will note, thank the Lord we don't have the other forms on here because I would be way too harsh on those things. Therian form Landorus might be one of my least favorite Pokemon of all time. I hate that thing. Although normal Landorus, normal Thundurus, and normal Tornadus, I love. These, just the yoked Genies, they are so cool. And now, here's the thing for me. I've been thinking about this for a little bit now. Because I watched a video about Wolfie. He was talking about Therian form Landorus, and how it was used, how it's really good and competitive. And he referenced the normal Landorus here. And it got me thinking. I'm like, why do I like Landorus so much? Do I like Landorus so much because I was never able to get it? Because for those that don't know, you need Tornadus and Thundurus to be able to get Landorus in Pokemon Black and White. I had 2 copies of Pokemon White. I never had a Tornadus. I only had Thundurus. So I was never able to get Landorus. So do I like Landorus so much because it was the Pokemon I was never able to get? And, like, the allure of it, because of that, I like it more? I think that might be part of the reason why I like it so much. But besides that, like, my next favorite one, or the one that I would be debating which I like the best, is Thundurus. Thundurus is so cool. Tornadus is cool as well. We were talking in Pokemon Go at how it has the flying type background in Pokemon Go. The first Pokemon to have it, and to this day, one of only 3 Pokemon I believe to have it. Again, the other 2, you have Tornadus, both forms. We'll just count that as one Pokemon, though. But then the other 2 are Noibat and Noivern. The only ones to have the flying type background in Pokemon Go, which is pretty cool. And it is a cool Pokemon. Used a lot in competitive and all that stuff. Specifically right now, again, I don't know too much about competitive. All I know is I battle Tornadus all the time. Everyone's using Breaking Swipes and Tailwind and Breaking Swipes. That's what everyone uses on it. But Tornadus is cool. I'm going to put him above Dwebble, below Electros. Thundurus and Landorus. Dude, I don't know which I like more. I love how you catch Thundurus in the game. Again, I never caught Tornadus in the game, so I don't know how it is. I assume it's the same thing. But Thundurus, you talk to this lady in this house. It's the area with the tall grass and like the beams you walk across. And there'd be like the thunderstorm there, and you have to run around and encounter Tornadus or Thundurus in the thunderstorm. I assume Tornadus is the same way. It's in the storm as well. But how like the lightning, like the screen lights up yellow and stuff with the lightning in game. It was so cool. I always loved catching Thundurus in the game. It was so awesome. I'm trying to think here. I don't know if I like it more than Chandelure. Thundurus is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Tornadus, I'm going to put just above Thundurus. You know, I've always said I like Tornadus or Landorus better, so I'll put Landorus above Thundurus. They're all so cool, though. The genies are all so cool. It was so cool. All of these guys are so awesome. One of my favorite trios ever. One of my favorite legendary trios ever, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him. I'm trying to think. I don't think I like him more than Chandelure. Chandelure's shinies too good. Their shinies are okay. I think Thundurus, I believe, is just like purple. Let me look. Shiny Thundurus. Oh, their shinies suck. Thundurus is okay. Tornadus is meh, and Landorus is meh. I'll leave him like that. We'll leave him like that. I do like how Landorus, his pose is looking straight on. Because it's meant to be like they're side by side. Like, look. Like, see? You have Thundurus, Tornadus both looking opposite ways, and Landorus in the middle there looking straight on. I have always thought that was cool. But I'll leave it like that. We'll put Landorus in the middle. Now moving on. We have the final 3 Pokemon of the game. We have, I said game, the tier list. Now we have the final 3 legendaries. Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem. Reshiram and Zekrom, the 2 box legendaries for Pokemon Black and White. Everyone was assuming then we were going to get Pokemon Gray, a game based around Kyurem. And we would get games based around Kyurem, but not just Kyurem alone. We would get Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. In my opinion, the best continuation of Pokemon games ever. Those are the best, like you say, second, third. Though from Black and White to Black 2, White 2 is the best transition of all time from one Pokemon game to the next. In those second games, you would see, depending on which game you picked, Zekrom form with Kyurem or Reshiram form with Kyurem to create Kyurem Black and Kyurem White. It is so cool. The lore around these 3. And there's even more lore beyond what we know. Apparently, there is a original dragon. We know Reshiram and Zekrom, both on their own, can combine with Kyurem to make, like I said, Kyurem Black or Kyurem White. Or White Kyurem or Black Kyurem. I don't remember specifically how the name went. But apparently, years ago, all 3 were combined into one dragon. Will we ever see that dragon one day? I hope so. If we ever get a Legends Unova game, I hope that's what the game's about, and we learn the lore of that. Like I said, my ideal situation for a Legends Unova game, it would be the game starts out with the dragon all as one, and the story of the game is how they broke up into the 3 dragons. I think that would be really cool. Then they have the orbs and stuff they go into as well, how that ended up being a thing. Like, that would be so cool. But these 3 right here are elite legendary Pokemon. Some of the best legendary Pokemon of all time. I've always mentioned, we have Koraidon and Miraidon right now. Koraidon and Miraidon are the best box legendaries since this. Do I like them more than Zekrom and Reshiram? I honestly don't know. I don't want to say for sure because it is so recent. We've gotten the Scarlet Violet legendaries. I don't want to say anything for sure right now. But these guys right here are elite. Where am I going to put them on the tier list, though? This is the hard part. Do they go above Thundurus and Landorus? Do they go above Chandelure and Crustle? I will note, I played Pokemon White. Zekrom, because of Zekrom. I got Pokemon White because of Zekrom, because I wanted Zekrom. Although over the years, Reshiram has grown on me a lot. I will note, Kyurem has the best shiny out of these three. Reshiram, the rings on its back just kind of turn gold, and there's the 2 rings on its neck and on its tail. Those turn gold. Very, very subtle change. And then Zekrom, it normally lights up blue. It lights up green instead. Very subtle changes. The shinies for these, this might be the biggest miss of all time in Pokemon. They should have made the shinies for Reshiram and Zekrom just flip. Make Reshiram black and Zekrom white. That would have been insane. Although they didn't. And we have the basic dumb shinies we've got with them right now. But their designs on their own are awesome. Here's the thing, too. When I picture Unova and N and all that stuff, I picture N with Reshiram and you, the character, with Zekrom. I don't know if that's just me. Now that I think back to it, actually. So I played Pokemon White, so I had Zekrom. But then that meant did N have Reshiram then? I think so. That's how I picture Pokemon Black and White. N is the one with Reshiram. You're the one with Zekrom. Although, I honestly think I'm going to put... This might be the first time I've ever, actually acknowledged this. I think I like Reshiram better than Zekrom. I'm going to put them both right there. I do... Do I like Serperior better than them? No, I do. Serperior is my first ever starter. Serperior is my first ever starter Pokemon. I have to leave it at the top of S tier out of respect. But Reshiram and Zekrom for sure are the top of S tier right there. They're such good legendaries. They're so good. This is back in the day when we had good legendaries. You look back, Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Mewtwo, Ho-Oh, Reshiram, Zekrom. Then you have all the bad ones. Palkia, Dialga. What are the... Zacian, Zamazenta. All these L legendaries. These were part of the glory days of legendaries. When Pokemon pumped out some good stuff. They skipped a gen with Gen 4. They did give us some good stuff, though, with Giratina and Darkrai. But for box legendaries, they skipped a generation of good ones with Gen 4. Gen 5, like I said, was the last really, really good one. And the box legendaries we have now, I don't think we've had as good of box legendaries since this generation. And then we have Kyurem over here. Now, Kyurem's kind of weird. Now, I know it's meant to be like the shell of... It's not meant to be like this big powerhouse Pokemon. It's this weak, frail one. Again, they were all together as one time. Clearly, Reshiram and Zekrom got the good genes. Kyurem got all the bad genes. It's hunched over. Barely even has wings. One wing's bigger than the other. But then it forms with Reshiram and Zekrom and stuff. So it is cool. And I will take that into account when I'm ranking it here. It has a good shiny. And I do like that it's an Ice Dragon. So I'm going to put Kyurem right there above Zoroark and below Thundurus and Tornadus. I think that's a solid spot for it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude the Pokemon Black and White tier list. The Unova tier list. Now, as I was doing the Kalos tier list, I was thinking about this. I was like, is Kalos better than Unova? As we currently sit here right now, I don't know. I'm going to run through this tier list right here, and I'm going to try to answer that question afterwards. Starting off down at the bottom, we have Disgusting tier. Don't even want to mention those guys. They're awful. F tier, horrible Pokemon. D tier, below average, not that great. C tier is where we get into the average guys. Scraggy, holding it down at the top. B tier, some of the good Pokemon, you could say. I do like the original stages of those monkeys, I will note. I do think the first forms are cool. The evolutions suck. I will acknowledge that. A tier, there's tons of good Pokemon up here in A tier. You have Seismitoad, Unpheasant, Gigalith, Emboar, Genesect, Beartic. I mean, then moving down a bit, we have like Leavanny, we have Snivy, we have a Selgor, we have Victini, you have Excadrill, the fossils are in there, Sigilyph is in there. There's some really, really cool Pokemon in A tier. But then up here in S tier, S tier's got some heavy hitters, man. Serperior, Reshiram, Zekrom. You have Crustle, Crocodile, Chandelure, Kyurem, the Genie Trio, Duat, the best middle evolution starter. Solid Pokemon up top. Then up in God tier, we have two of the best Pokemon designs of all time. Haxorus and Volcarona. And I was kind of like slow going through that. Because in my head, I'm literally thinking like, do I like Kalos better than this? And you might be thinking, why are you comparing the two? Because we were expecting to get a Unova game. We got a Kalos game instead. And Unova I look at as being my favorite games of all time. Black and White. Black 2, White 2. Best Pokemon games I've ever played. But then when we did the Kalos tier list, I'm like, Kalos doesn't have bad Pokemon whatsoever. Unova, there's no doubt. There are bad Pokemon from Unova, but Unova has more than double the Pokemon Kalos has. Then I look at the Pokemon that are good in Unova. Now, I do think we had more S-tier Pokemon in Kalos than we have in Unova right now. Although, the quality of Pokemon up here at the top of Unova, I think it might be better than Kalos. Because at the top of Kalos, we had Greninja. But then at the top of Unova, we have Haxorus and Volcarona. For the legendaries in Unova, or the legendaries in Kalos, we had, Yveltal, Xerneas. They were hard carried by Zygarde. Here, Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, Tornadus, Thundurus, Landorus. Yes, you have tons of other awesome Pokemon. They have a good Root 1 bird, Talonflame, the best one in my opinion. Kalos also has awesome Pokemon like the pseudo-legendary Goodra, one of my favorite pseudos of all time. They have Pokemon like Hawlucha, Trevenant, all these awesome mons. Here, but there's good Pokemon here too. Zoroark, Chandelure, Crocodile, Crustle, awesome Pokemon. Let me look at my Kalos tier list real quick. I kind of do want to make a decision here and say which one I like better. So Unova does have more S-tier Pokemon. But again, Unova has more than double the Pokemon. They only have 4. Unova only has 5 more S-tier Pokemon. Nah, I don't know, man. You have Aegislash, Zygarde, Hawlucha, Goodra. Now, honestly, I think Unova's better. I will note, I think the quality in Kalos is better. The quality of Kalos Pokemon are better maybe than any other gen. There isn't that many. The smallest dex there is. Smallest generation of Pokemon there is, yet there's no bad ones. They're all good. We look at Unova. Unova, I think, has to edge out Kalos because it has more good Pokemon. It has more Pokemon that are good. Again, there are Pokemon that are bad in Unova. There aren't bad Pokemon in Kalos. Although, the Pokemon that are in Unova, there's just so many more good ones, I have to edge it out. I have to give it to Unova at the end of the day. One thing I will note here at the end, I do want to bring this up again. Unova's like the darkest gen, is it not? Like, if you go back and look at the other tier lists we did, they're all bright and vibrant colors. Unova has so much dark, earthy colors. I've always noticed that. I've never been able to describe it before. Definitely have more, like, dark, earthy colors than any other gen. Why not rank both Kyurem fusions? They're not on here. I would put them both in S tier, if I'm being honest. Both would be S tier for sure. I would put them probably... I don't like them as much as just normal Reshiram and Zekrom. I'd probably put them above Kyurem, below Thundurus. They go right between Kyurem and Thundurus. That's where it'll go. You'd feel it's very dark as well. See? I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that. It is. It's really dark. Just the dark, earthy colors with Unova as a whole. But that is all for the tier list, and that is all for this stream right here. To everybody that took the time to tune in today, thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate it. We gained a couple of subscribers during the stream here today. We're at 1,098. We gained 3 subscribers, I believe, during the stream. So to everyone that subscribed, thank you so very much. Everyone that took the time to tune in today, I appreciate it so much. Pimply, thank you for watching earlier. Jackaroo, thank you for taking the time to tune in. Jacket, thank you for tuning in. Vineet, thank you for tuning in. Everyone that took the time to tune in, I thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate it. Tonight, we're going to be streaming once again. We are not going to be doing any gameplay or anything like that. We're going to be doing that Pokemon picker thing where I pick my favorite Pokemon from each generation. It's like each type from each generation. Then you pick at the bottom your favorite of the stuff you selected. It looks really cool. I'm excited to do it. We will be doing that tonight. But for this stream right here, that is all for today. I thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And this is the Poke